Hello and welcome to So to Speak. I'm Lyle Groniger.
Do I have a future in sound design or what?
That was some good work, Winston Jones.
Okay. In case I'm Evan Mead, and our guest hosts tonight joining us are.
Oh, hi, it's me.
Hi,
I'm
me.
Veronica.
Hello,
I'm Veronica Garcia.
hello, fiance.
Yay.
Hello.
Yes.
And I'm the other Foley guy, but you might better know me as Josh.
Cool.
So all four of
Some
us.
silent Foley for the record.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So all four of us tonight are going to engage in a Pixar bracket tournament.
Okay.
Now it'd be very easy for us to just pit each movie on every single facet that they have and say which one's objectively better. But that would be easy because I don't know. I guess like Incredibles would likely win. Toy Story 2, Ratatouille.
No,
Wall-E.
it would be as easy a fight as you're thinking.
Let's check it
So
out.
in this ranking, we are going to judge each round based on one piece of criteria and see which one comes on top. So I want to get. I'm excited. I love doing these episodes. So
Okay.
let's see what the first one will be. We have for round one, Ratatouille versus Turning Red.
Oh. Both.
Wow, coming right out of the gate with going to be some hot takes here.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and the category is best character arc.
Turning Red, I would say
that's
so.
Not even close.
I think Turning Red has the best character arc because
I would agree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the character arc in Ratatouille is I must fulfill my creativity or I'll die. not literally.
I must make food or else I will die.
Well, you need food.
I
to
mean,
live.
he tries to make food and he almost dies because he's a rat.
Yeah.
I would agree. Mei Mei has a really good character arc. She grows so much throughout the beginning to
really
the end.
does. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's hitting puberty. That's such an arc in it.
What?
That's an arc in and of
so
itself.
when you say best character arc, well, you're not
Even the mother has a good character
Yeah, no.
arc.
The mother has a great character arc in Turning Red. Although I must say the best character arc in Ratatouille is Anton Ego.
Yeah,
that
he's a good
speech. But
now, I forgot to mention.
That scene at the end, though, that makes that entire character arc just that one bite. I mean, we've all had food like that.
I mean, he does have an excellent speech.
Where you get nostalgia flashbacks when you eat something.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
that was a good scene.
Nice.
I should point out that this will be a double bracket. So yeah, for all you Ratatouille fans, don't worry. There is a chance that Remy will come back on top.
Okay.
And get out of the sewer. That is the second bracket.
But for now, he's playing second fiddle to a panda.
My panda.
It's a red panda.
A red panda, yes.
My panda, my choice.
Okay.
Next,
my panda, not. Did you read someone's letterbox review to come up with that?
No, Evan. That's a quote from the damn movie. Next up.
That's epic.
Next round.
Recency bias aside, I mean, I think it didn't really stand much of a chance, to be honest, because Turning Red is still on everyone's mind.
You're right. Let's,
Next up, Cars versus Finding Nemo.
Oh, I'm curious as to what the category is.
Yeah, let's see here. Best female character.
Finding Nemo.
Finding
Okay,
Nemo.
I like...
Sorry, Sally.
I feel like that's not saying that much.
Dory... No, okay, what does Sally have...
Any of the female cars, I'm sorry, the female cars are like non-existent. You have like Sally.
Why they're not written very well.
I mean, Sally had the most. Sally had the most to do in the first movie. The others not so much. In the second movie,
never see her again.
Yeah, I thought that she was his girlfriend, and then she doesn't show up in any of the other movies.
That's not
rarely.
I mean, no, that's not true. In the second movie, she gets really moist. Can I say that? Sorry, she gets very.
She's a car.
She gets hot and steamy for an Italian race car, and in the third movie, she gives McQueen a pep talk. Although well, Cars 3, that would be a different story.
Cars 3, she's barely in it.
In the third movie, we would have talked about the yellow, like his partner. I forget her name. unfortunately.
Uh,
I mean,
Ramirez?
no,
not to
uh,
take away anything from
Ramirez. No,
But
it's
we're talking about
It
Cars
was-
1.
the first Cars.
Yeah, the first Cars. Compared to Finding Nemo, I mean, Dory is so funny in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, she's
Not only
great.
that-
Like, I rewatched it with Lyle. Like, I think we watched Finding Dory first, and then we watched Finding Nemo. We're like, wow, it's like night and day how much better Dory is in the first movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the second movie's all about her.
Gets
Yep.
all the attention.
Yeah.
Allison Janney steals the show as Peach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Peach is fun too.
Yeah, like Peach doesn't get enough discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so we're all unanimous with Finding Nemo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, then this car is going to the scrapyard. Boom.
But it can come back.
It could
potentially.
They could all come back. It's like Star Wars. No one's ever really gone.
Oh, yeah.
Next up.
Oh, boy.
You can't even say it with a straight face.
Up versus the Good Dinosaur.
The Good Dinosaur.
Most diverse cast.
Oh, most diverse cast.
I'm gonna have to say. Oh, actually, Good Dinosaur had mostly.
Jeffrey Wright was his dad.
Yeah.
And then we had Anna Paquin,
Wait.
Sam Elliott.
We're talking about the real life actors? I
'Kay,
thought you
Yeah.
meant, like,
These are
the
dinosaurs we're
characters.
talking about. No, diverse cast. So I actually am gonna. Neither of these casts are super diverse.
That's not true. We have Jeffrey Wright as
Arlo's dad.
Arlo's dad. Russell was played by a young Asian actor.
Oh, yeah,
So-
an Asian American
The
actor.
director of The Good Dinosaur is Peter Song.
Peter Song.
This is not easy.
Wait, wasn't Peter Song the voice of Doug?
Yes, he was the voice of Emil, Remy's brother in Ratatouille.
He was
as well
also
as the director of
In the
Dinosaur.
latest Pixar film Lightyear, he was.
Okay, I need to
Rob,
grab
he
my
was
phone.
Socks.
I need research at
Yeah.
my fingertips here.
This is why you do your research before you go live.
Hey, if Joe Rogan could get away with researching live on his show, then
I mean,
we could do that.
I guess I'll give credit to The Good Dinosaur that at least it's giving me more to talk about than the actual movie.
Yeah.
My point exactly.
Who did the voice of Doug?
Wasn't that?
Doug? I think that's somebody else.
Oh, Bob Peterson. Never mind. Okay, so it's not Peterson.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
Bob.
I think I'm gonna give it to
10,
Good
we,
Dinosaur.
46. Different
Wait,
ball.
so we each got a pick.
Yeah, so I think
I'm-
Good
We
Dinosaur.
each vote.
Okay,
What do you pick, Lyle?
Good Dinosaur. I said it 3 times.
I'm gonna. Yeah, Good Dinosaur. Well, most diverse cast. They both have like someone who. They both have like a someone from a minority on the cast list, but yeah, I'm gonna say Good Dinosaur. Although,
I mean,
Just
who
barely.
does the voice of Arlo? I think he's
yeah, oh, that's a good point.
the voice of
Raymond
Arlo.
Ochoa.
Raymond Ochoa. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, I'm going with Good Dinosaur. Is that what you guys are picking?
Can you believe that Good
I'm
Dinosaur
just gonna
actually?
follow you because I don't know.
Well, I feel like this will probably be the first of many
'Kay.
upsets this evening.
That's
well,
a big upset.
Can you believe that
Yeah,
the
sorry,
Good Dinosaur triumphed over Up in one category?
Well,
Can you believe a movie that had good in its title actually won something?
a movie with good in the title wasn't. Next up, we have Brave and A Bug's Life.
Oh, this will be
My
interesting.
favorite Pixar movies ever. Deepest themes?
You're not serious about that.
I'm gonna
first one, are
say
Ooh,
A
deepest themes.
Bug's
Wait,
Life.
what was the category?
Okay, everyone needs to pipe down when I start a round. So the theme was deepest theme. Like, what was the point of the story
And
overall?
I'm gonna have to say A Bug's Life, because A Bug's Life is about standing up for yourself and standing up for your friends even when you're too small. And it's also about self-acceptance too, because you have Flick, who is like the misfit that no one in the colony likes, and then he saves the whole colony. Brave
I
is
thought
just
more about like finding your place in the world.
Yeah.
Brave tackles the mother-daughter relationship, also
And independence.
independence, marriage, and
You know, going outside the realms of like your social like norms.
but Flick went outside the realms of his social norms too. He left the island to go get a bunch
Okay,
of
then
circus
which
folk.
movie did it better, Evan?
I'm gonna say A Bug's Life.
I'm kind of leaning more towards Brave, if I'm being honest.
Oh, because I thought you have like a big hate boner for.
I don't
Brave.
like Brave, but I think it does a little bit more with its themes than A Bug's Life.
Okay,
With the
that's
matriarchal concerns.
That's fair.
What about you two? What
can't-
do you think?
No, I can't vote for Brave, because I hate them so much.
Okay.
It's like the most toxic mother-daughter relationship I've ever seen in my life. So I have to pick A Bug's Life.
Oh.
All right.
Well, like,
all right, Josh.
It comes down to
what's
you.
What's your pick?
Honey, the ants shrunk themselves again.
Okay, Bug's Life. I will not lose tears over that because I don't like Brave.
I still find it hilarious how one of the kids in the hall helped save the world from evil Kevin Spacey.
and
Released
we
the backyard.
emphasis on evil.
Yeah. All right. Next up in this round, Monsters Inc. versus Soul.
Oh, what's the category?
I love Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
This will be interesting.
And the most innovative.
Soul.
I mean, if it is even a contest?
Yeah.
Soul's
Monsters
more.
Inc. Obviously.
Soul
no,
is more creative. I mean, Monsters Inc.
Soul was pretty it's definitely a
That's what
step
happens when you have
outside
those
the
two
realm.
locations
Can I be
like
honest?
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. had a creative premise, but it actually overcomplicated itself to the point
That's
where
a good category. Most creative.
I
I'm
didn't-
adding that.
I didn't get Monsters Inc. the first time I watched it.
What do you mean?
I mean, I know I got the whole. They go into. I got the
It's
whole.
for individuals who have a certain IQ.
Whoa. Getting kind of person.
No,
Getting
no
kind.
copy pastas in this episode.
Hey, Josh, the word I'm searching for, I can't say because there's preschool toys present.
Mm.
So anyways, it's just Monsters Inc. got the reason why it overcomplicated itself is because like I get the whole premise of monsters go to the human world to scare.
Well, I think what I mean by the category means by innovative evidence, like in terms of Pixar technology, like which one kind of broke new barriers.
With Monsters Inc., they had
to create like all sorts of
they
like
had to
hair
create-
follicles.
they had to
That's what
redesign.
we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to be more specific.
He's
is it
right.
The story or
she's
is it
right,
the
yeah.
animation?
Because I was thrown by that. 'Cause it's
Okay.
like-
Okay. Well,
Although,
that's why I had to clarify.
Soul had the benefit of coming out when they were mastering CGI.
I was gonna say this is like a category that definitely leans
Although
more into
they-
the newer Pixar
With
films.
here's the thing, Monsters Inc. was edited in studio. Soul was edited at home during a pandemic. So
Ooh. Oh yeah, and this was one of the first movies to come out during the pandemic on Disney Plus.
But didn't Monsters Inc. have to they had to create a whole new program in order to make Sully's hair?
that's true.
That is
They
true.
did.
I
And
mentioned
that's
that.
what they used to help them make more movies in the future. No.
Mhm.
That's true. I'm also Fur looks really good in Soul. I'm gonna say actually
Soul also has the first leading black character in all of Pixar.
not only
Okay,
that
but you were talking about animation, not the story.
innovation.
I think
Innovative
it
is like
should
a
be a
general-
mix of both.
Yeah, no, innovation is kind of like an umbrella term for every category.
Okay,
Mhm.
if we're talking about both, then Soul wins.
Yeah,
Okay,
Because
I agree.
of this crate of them diving into the concept of death and bringing that to
And
to
not-
children's cinema, which a lot of people find taboo to
and
talk about death to kids because they think that children don't really understand death, even when they try to explain it, but they do.
Okay.
not only
But
that,
all the
but
Shooty Bang Bang games are perfect.
the way-
explain death to
the
kids.
way they incorporate 2D characters with the 3D environment was also very
Yeah,
intricate as well.
those spirit things. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I could give it to Soul. Don't worry, Monsters Inc. You'll come back.
Yeah.
Inside
I think
Out.
Soul has the better premise, although I still kind of feel the whole dynamic between the two main characters. It's kind of giving me a Wreck-It Ralph kind of vibe, Ralph and Penelope, that sort of feeling.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh
comparison.
yeah.
All right,
Mm.
so to the next round. Inside Out versus Cars 2.
I love Cars.
See, Lyle,
2.
this is your worst nightmare of a bracket.
I know, because I
Doesn't
hate.
matter what it is, Cars 2 is losing.
I know, because Cars 2 is
let's see.
a very big guilty pleasure of mine. Inside Out is considered one of the smartest Pixar films. Best villain.
Inside Out doesn't have a
Ooh.
villain, so that's so Cars 2 wins by
No,
default.
no. The villain is themselves.
Joy, yeah.
Because it's no surprise to see they are their own worst enemy.
You guys realize that there's a difference between an antagonist and a villain, right? So
Not exactly.
Cars 2 kind of wins.
Cars 2 has Eddie Diesenmobile.
Okay, on the literal definition of a villain, yes, Cars 2 does have one, even if it's basically an entire James Bond spoof.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I
Cars
guess
2
there's no
wins.
reason to exist in the entire subplot of Pitch Perfect 3.
This is kind of tough.
That's an entirely different story.
Because,
What do
like,
you mean tough? Cars 2 wins. It's so easy.
Well, if you want to make the argument, let's assume we're doing this argument based on the joy as a villain bit.
And then she has to like resolve
No,
the issue she has.
Joy
I wouldn't
sucks.
no, but I wouldn't say she's an intentional villain. Like, she has good intentions, but
Yeah.
a lot of the time it's like it's appearing to be that like Joy has to be the central emotion of Riley's existence at all times.
Mhm.
And the film is basically saying you're allowed to have other emotions as you grow up.
Exactly.
It's not healthy to try and be happy all the time.
True, true. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like Inside Out has like Joy does the wrong thing, but then she learns it by the end. There aren't too many other, unless you count clowns, because Riley's afraid of
She's
clowns.
not a villain though. She's just misguided.
Yeah.
That's why it's not really a technical
So
villain.
that's why I'm saying
So,
Joy
like-
isn't a
It's
villain,
a
so it
fairest
goes
of
to Cars 2.
technicality.
It goes. Oh my God! Hey guys, Cars 2 just beat your Inside Out.
Yo,
Ha
well,
ha
no,
ha!
no.
Ha ha
Shut,
ha!
okay, no, well, Cars 2.
Cars 2,
look,
you won this
no,
round.
well, Cars 2. Looks like we're gonna have to make you the winner by default.
Woohoo! The two
No,
greatest
well.
words in the English language.
Very good.
And then everyone turned off our podcast. Okay. Don't worry. This is why I made it double. This is why I had to make the choice to make double bracket, because some of these it's gonna like
Get greasy.
some of these answers will not. Some of these victories will not please everyone. So I want to give some people a second chance.
Unfortunately, the Mater is not enough.
Mater showed his medal. Alright, next round. Toy Story 2 versus Monsters University.
And the category is...
The category is most... we already did that one recently. I want to change it. Most creative.
Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
No, Monsters University...
Two.
Most creative... Okay, is there a difference between innovative and creative? Because...
Well, creative means the amount of ideas that are put forth to make the story and all that.
I like Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 actually expands an interesting premise.
Yeah,
Monsters
it's a
University
natural
just makes a prequel out of it.
Okay, it's an...
Film.
Sorry?
Toy Story 2 is a natural continuation of the events from the first film. It builds on all the existing characters, introduces new ones, builds the world around the characters,
Literally.
and you get these nice little... It also has a really interesting commentary on collector culture in 1999.
Yeah.
Right before eBay and Amazon blew up, and especially now in the age of like social media and the internet where like, really old things can fetch ridiculous amounts of money. Like,
Okay.
as much as Al was kind of a dick,
Al's totally Al's a thief.
Yeah.
I gotta drive all the way to work on a Saturday!
All the way to work!
Okay.
And it also made me feel like super shitty about like ditching my old toys.
I know.
Can we talk about the When She Loved Me sequence?
That made me cry
That's
so much.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with you
And
anymore.
that like leads to, it's Woody's first real introduction. And Woody and Buzz get introduced to life outside of Andy's house, essentially, because, Woody meets the other toys and, that there was a whole universe before.
I mean,
Andy's life.
there's...
You never realized that. Of course, Buzz and the entire Toy Store, the Toy Store scene's a riot.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Toy Store scene. Woody's Roundup was a great idea. Even like small...
I'm a married spud.
The entire adventure of it all is so fun. Like that pylon scene alone is one of my favorite scenes in all Pixar.
The airport
And the airport scene.
The
Good God.
The airport scene might be one of the best third acts in any Pixar film. Like, we'll get to that
Guys,
later.
we're not making any cases for Monsters University.
Monsters
I
University.
want to drop out.
It's
And say
like a
Toy Story
sequel,
2.
but it's actually a prequel that's 10 plus years later, and who asked for this?
Yeah. Speaking
What's
of
next?
speaking of
Monsters at Work a few years ago, which is basically the Monsters Inc. sequel people really wanted.
all right, speaking of sequels that kind of came a little late, we have Finding Dory versus Incredibles.
The Incredibles.
This feels brutal.
What's the category?
Best setting.
Oh, that's a tough one because
So the Incredibles, you have Metropolis and Nomadison Island. Metroville, sorry. Metroville and Nomadison Island and the Power Place, and Find Dory, you have the aquarium.
and the ocean.
An ocean, yeah. So
But the ocean's such a generic setting, and technically the first Finding Nemo was already mostly set in the ocean.
yeah, Finding Nemo did it better too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, like, Nomadison Island is such a cool design to it.
yeah, it really
Yeah, if
does.
it was going against like Finding Nemo,
It'd be
that
more
setting
to
was
talk
way better because
Yeah.
you see like different parts of the ocean.
The Great
Mhm.
Barrier Reef in particular. The first,
Yeah.
like Finding Nemo had more of that. Finding Dory just feels a little bit more generic sea setting by design.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Josh,
I would go with the Incredibles because I mean the island is really cool.
I
It
definitely
is.
like the aesthetic of the Incredibles as a whole. I mean, yeah, Metropolis is more
yeah.
like the city, but you could argue the time aspect of like it starts, I think, what 60s or 70s.
Yeah, Silver
Yeah,
Age of
So you
comics.
get a little bit
the
of that.
the gold the golden age of the comics was the late 50s, early 60s, and then the silver age was the mid 70s. So
Yeah, which is when the
That's an
Incredibles
interesting
take place.
commentary on comic book culture too. With that, and I always like
exactly.
the idea of the world sort of living in a prohibition era where superheroes are outlawed, and then having to like do all the super deeds on the side.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, honestly, like Incredibles has so many detail to it, so much detail to it, and its environments too. I love the look of the jungle. I love the look of
The volcano
the
that the
volcano scenes. My God, the
Yeah,
scene where
that's
Mr.
really
Incredible has like a tiki head and he has to charge through the gap.
yeah.
Oh, it makes me. I can feel the heat radiate off the screen in that scene.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess Incredibles pretty much stole this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's next?
Next up, Lightyear versus Toy Story 3.
Now, as we're recording, we saw Lightyear about 24 hours ago. We walked out of the theater to seeing it.
Yeah.
No spoilers because I have not seen it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
gonna wait till it actually goes on Disney Plus because if it's tied to Toy Story, of course Disney's gonna make it in theaters. If it's an original concept, keep
Yeah.
it on streaming.
We kind of had to see it for the sake of this podcast, so I guess Evan, this will be a discussion between you and me. Or say,
No,
yeah,
but we're not
me
going
and
to
you.
spoil anything.
You and me and you,
Both
both
of
of
us
us together.
together!
All right, the set best.
I'm honored that
oh, frick! Best
That's-
What?
best
What is
computer best computer animation.
that's actually both of them have that.
Oh,
Okay,
this
Toy Story.
this
This is
leans
tough.
so much
Lightyear
more
has
in the
time
newer
travel,
ones.
but
Act-
does it have facing death in a garbage
Hey,
compartment?
hey, keep the spoilers. I mean, Veronica, do you know the basic plot of Lightyear?
No, I know nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so we can't. Well, it doesn't matter what the plot is, Evan. What matters is the fidelity of the animation.
Okay,
or, like
yeah.
the amount they can
so,
do.
okay, so essentially,
Oh.
I'm gonna say Toy Story 3 has a ton of color diversity, and the
That's true.
textures are amazing.
Lightyear's color palette is really like
It's kind of
lacking.
gross.
What I've seen of the trailers and like I saw the Beyond Infinity featurette thing, it is very muted. I mean, a lot of it does take place in outer space, so there's going to be a lot more. I guess the word would be like almost a rust color, like for planet
Yeah,
texture.
they try to
Very
make it
muted by
gritty.
comparison.
And it's weird because the movie it's technically placed in. Okay, I guess I can't really talk about that. It's technically a '90s movie, but they don't even try to make it feel like a '90s movie. Like there's no aesthetic that makes it feel like it was shot and
Well,
released
it's
in
connected to
1990.
nostalgia by proxy, so the kids will totally eat it up.
It doesn't feel like a movie that was set in 1995. So you
It
know what?
does.
You know what? To hell with it. I know it's technically has more fidelity just based on the fact that computers like improve with each and every installment. But I think Toy Story 3 looks better,
Okay.
and the animation is like much more like in line with the Toy Story
Yeah.
franchise. I like the animation in Toy
Especially-
Story 3 better.
You kind of see a little bit of the different style, even in some of Bonnie's new toys, because they take
Yes.
influence from different things around the world, just like in animating them.
Yes. Are you referring to the cat from My Neighbor Totoro being in her room?
Well, that's part of it, but I think also just some of the different designs, like you have the hedgehog, and you have the dinosaurs, and you have like other
And you have
types of toys that
Buttercup
didn't
the
really represent
unicorn.
until that time.
Even some of the animation choices
And
are really
Jeff
good.
Garland the unicorn.
Yeah, like when you see all the kids playing with them in like the the preschool room, and then you see it in the toys perspective, and it's almost like a scene out of D-Day or something. All right,
Was that first person? That I feel like that might have been in first person.
it's either first person or like first person subjective, where like we see the toys like from the kids' perspective. I don't know. It's just a lot of neat
and
stuff
even
like
in the first
that.
Toy, in the first Toy Story, you only really saw from their perspective in a few shots.
And dudes, like, or sorry,
Dude and
dudes and dudette. I am sorry. Slap,
We
bad
all
Lyle,
do,
bad
yeah.
Lyle, bad Lyle. Get better, get better, Lyle. Anyways, that opening scene in Toy Story 3 alone, the
yeah.
entire
That was such a
imagination
callback.
sequence.
That was great.
That was great.
There's nothing in Lightyear that really hits that kind of tone. So yeah, sorry, Toy Story 3. I mean, it's older, but it's
Not that
aged.
much older.
It's wiser.
It's 12 years older than Lightyear. Okay, what's next?
Next round. The next round. I've lost count. Luca versus Incredibles 2.
What's the category? Oh,
And
this
the
category.
category is which one had the best story?
Incredibles 2.
Hmm.
Luca is the Little Mermaid with dudes.
Luca is kind of interesting because it's rather
Luca too.
plotless, but it also has like a vibe. It vibes pretty good. Incredibles 2, I'll be honest, I have story problems with Incredibles 2. I don't like.
actually have to agree with Lyle on this.
I don't like
Yeah.
the plot doesn't do it a lot.
Okay, what are your story problems with
I don't
Incredibles
like.
2?
I don't like the villain. I feel like
The
the
villain
last.
That's more of a character problem.
Well, it's still part of the story. And then there's like the climax isn't nearly as interesting as the first Incredibles, where it's
Very
just like
subtle naming.
it's like a boat is going to crash into the side of a reef if they don't. Oh, and also they're gonna destroy all superheroes. The villain's motivation was flimsy. I think Elastigirl, while it was nice to see her in the in the forefront of the story, I feel like she doesn't have much of an arc. Most of the characters kind of have like very little to do. There's some
Yeah,
things.
I find that in Luca, it was so, I don't know, it's very childlike, but it
Yeah,
was so sweet. Just these two boys finding like the beauty of life through like a Vespa.
yeah.
Like all they
Yeah.
want to do is get this Vespa and spend time together and have fun, and it was just so wholesome
I have
that
a
I
weird
loved it way
combination
more.
of themes here. So it's when Marty and I hung out with Cody and Veronica on Friday, I think Cody was the one that made this joke. He calls Luca calamari by your name.
That's all over Letterbox. Good one. Good one.
'Cause,
Yes.
I mean, I can see that, but also, am I the only one that thinks Luca has a lot in common with Ponyo?
I haven't
I haven't
seen
seen
Ponyo,
Ponyo.
but I think I know what you're getting
Yeah.
at.
It's on our list.
Well, if anyone has like Studio Ghibli canon as a whole is very
Well-
whimsical, but it's a lot more muted. Whereas with Incredibles 2, I can't remember a lot in particular about it, other than again, it came several years too late, and they could have just like there was that video game Rise of the Underminer where you have a perfectly good villain, but you
Yeah.
have to like when you have to lampshade the villain's motivation in their name, it's not good story, and the whole making people slaves to their phones, very very unsettling.
Well, more like televisions because it's like set in a time before phones.
Whatever.
You know, technology and all that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Incredibles 2, it's a fine movie, but there's things about it that I feel are a little undercooked.
I
Luca,
didn't even like all the new characters.
yeah, they've
honestly.
introduced a bunch of new superheroes, and I don't care about them at all.
Mm.
You're out.
See, here's what I thought when I saw that. I'm like, this is basically they should have just actually made a Sky High sequel with some of the vibes some of them were going for, because the chemistry reminded me a lot of like the Sidekick Squad.
No,
Which I
man.
don't know.
Sky High and Incredibles crossover. Where was that?
Disney, make a Sky High sequel series, damn it.
Yeah, man.
I'd watch it.
Luca, I don't know. Luca's not like extravagantly complex, but it's solid.
It's a
I
lesser of two
still
evils.
stand.
There's a decent family relationship. I mean, granted, it still has that same sort of, yeah, I agree, Little Mermaid vibe of like, the mother doesn't want him going to the surface, but, the dad and the grandmother don't really care that much.
Yeah. So I guess it's like 3 for 1.
Fair
My
enough.
favorite character in Luca though is not Luca's dad, but what's the girl's name? Her dad.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, the fisherman guy.
yeah, the one-armed fisherman. And I
How
like
come
the
his
fact
name is not John.
that he has one arm, but it's like not even a major story mode, and it's not a tragic thing either. It's just something he lives with, and he's fine
I
with
know.
that.
I like how the boys were so scared of him at first, and then he's just like this really sweet man.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah,
There's-
I like
there's,
Luke.
there's another Pixar movie where there's like the dad that has like I don't know if it's a unibrow or like the one eyebrow with like the long hair.
Yeah.
Like you don't see his eyes until the end.
Are you talking about Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs?
No, she's talking about
maybe that's
Luca.
why.
Well, that's in
Is
Cloudy
that-
and the Chance
No,
of Meatballs too.
Okay, I don't know why, but like that, it's a weird like cross-brand thing. But like the girl's dad reminded me of the dad from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Okay.
Yeah, he has that similar look. Eh?
Yeah, so we can do one of two things, everyone. We can either go all the way through the first tournament and then go back to the loser rounds and see who gets on top. Actually, that makes more sense. Let's do it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
next up, Coco versus Turning Red.
Ooh, and the category is.
Oh man.
Well, this could be interesting.
Best action sequences.
Uh,
Oh,
Well,
can I
they
say?
both have really good points.
They
There's
do.
some good moments of like
Coco.
On the
thrilling
downside, they
action.
destroyed the Sky Dome. 0 out of 10.
I mean, there is a giant
I'm
red panda kaiju.
I-
Ooh,
I'm the biased
But still,
asshole because
That's so
it's
fun.
not every day you see an awesome action scene in my hometown.
of
So
Toronto.
yeah, but
It's not
Coco
every day
had
you see
Coco
the
has some
Rogers
good
Center not
chase.
have a baseball game.
yeah
Yeah, Coco has some good chase sequences here and there.
yeah.
But overall, I think Turning
Um,
Red is a little bit
yeah, I
more
think
up
Turning Red
there.
would like win in this one, especially when she like turned into the red panda like for the first time at school.
Yeah, and she
I think
runs.
she like ran back home and she was
I
going
have the
all over
perfect
the.
alternate name for Turning Red. A
What?
Canadian panda in Toronto.
A Canadian panda in Toronto. That's a good one.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to lean into Turning Red for this one.
Okay, yeah.
Even though, but neither movie is really like trying to be all out action.
Okay.
But you know, next up, Finding Nemo versus The Good Dinosaur.
Oh, good.
Um, hmm.
What was the category?
Highest box office performance.
Finding
Okay,
Nemo.
That's
not even a
very
question.
subjective.
Good Dinosaur actually.
Subjective.
Good Dinosaur
It's pretty cut and dry.
underperformed. Good Dinosaur underperformed by Pixar standards, but
Delaying it for a year and then having it be completely overshadowed by a film that came out months earlier and that is clearly better will do that.
Yeah, so Finding Nemo at a box office of $940.3 million.
it also had the benefit of being re-released in 3D, which factors into that.
Yeah, and Good Dinosaur is $332.2 million.
That's that, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like a 2/3 less.
Stick to
Although,
watching the dinosaurs
what
show
about-
instead. You'll have a better time.
Okay, that's pretty cut
And
and
that's
dry.
and
Yay,
that's
Finding Nemo.
Next, Toy Story versus A Bug's Life.
Oh.
Ah, the beginners,
yeah.
the pioneers of Pixar. Which movie had? This is another one we did recently. I guess it's going to be inevitable that we have repeats.
Yeah.
But which movie had the deepest themes?
Toy Story. Yeah,
Toy Story.
I like A Bug's Life, but Toy Story had the deeper themes.
That's kind of funny because
Yeah.
Bug's Life had this the last round, so I don't know what the deal with that is. But yeah, Toy Story.
It's all about seeding and who you're up against.
Yeah, Bug's Life.
It's like accepting change, is it not?
You must accept your fate. Getting beaten by your older brother again.
Yeah, I mean, I think all Toy Story films have pretty deep themes, so that's like not even a question. All right, sorry, Bug's Life. Next up, Soul versus Onward.
Okay, what's the category?
Yes, the battle of the pandemic film.
Pandemic Pixar. Which one?
I was thinking of calling this whole thing Pixar Pandemonium.
That's a good name.
That's a good title.
I might
Somebody
stick with
probably
it.
beat me to that somewhere else.
All right, this one is like okay, best ending. That's a good one. Which one had the best ending?
Soul.
Soul.
I
Soul, I think.
it's hard to
yeah.
say because Onward I did not like at all until the ending.
Yeah, that's
The last
Yeah,
10
but,
minutes
like,
were the
the
only
good
part I
ending
liked.
really outweigh a lackluster first 2/3 of it.
I mean, I fucking hated when Onward was literally like, we went on this massive quest, and then we went through a manhole, and now we're back in our neighborhood. That was a good use
I
of
love
time.
Onward. We went on this massive quest, and all we got was half of our dad.
Yeah.
I think,
is it better than a lousy T-shirt? Is it really better?
I guess not. Yeah, all right. I'll say Soul at least had a satisfactory ending where things actually led up to something and it paid off in the end. Onward just kind of felt like not a lot was accomplished except for the fact that it's like, yeah, you never met your dad, but you know, it's okay. You still have a family.
I felt really bad about it. Like, it was really sweet that he let his brother have the moment, but like, I felt really bad. He will never meet his dad.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a shallow compromise. I think Soul's better.
Yeah.
Anyways, next up, Cars 2, back at it again versus Wally.
You better pick a good category that favors Wally, because I will be fucking pissed if Cars 2 trounces.
Okay.
It may not win the whole thing, but it'll be the worst of the best of the worst.
Guys, which movie was the funniest?
Wally! I absolutely refuse to acknowledge Cars 2 is funny. Fuck that.
I want to eat some guacamole.
No, shut up.
It's wasabi on my tongue.
Cars 2 is stupid.
Maybe in 10 to 20 years, Cars 2 will be on its way to the room status where people rip it just because of how bad it
It's
is.
so
Yeah,
bad.
that is pretty bad.
Cars 2 is so bad. It's
Well,
hilarious.
the story maker.
I know.
It's the realm of Pixar.
It is ironically hilarious, but Wall-E is genuinely
Anything's
hilarious.
perfect, but-
So, I gotta.
pick Cars too.
You're gonna pick Cars 2?
I am picking Wally. You know where I stand.
Wall-E's
Wally was
not
hilarious.
Well,
Wally.
To be fair, yeah,
Well,
Wall-E
I'm-
was pretty dour.
Tiebreaker.
Wally had some hilarious bit. Remember the bit where like Eve closes up and Wally like tries to like love her and take her on a date, and he's like he has Christmas lights and he's
I mean, I
that
like
seems hilarious.
I liked Mo. Mo was a funny
Okay,
character.
Listen.
No.
Wall-E is funny in some moments, but it is not a comedy movie. Cars 2 is a comedy movie, therefore it is funnier.
It does go full on like with the. Well, I don't know. There are a lot of deaths in Cars 2. Like a lot of cars get destroyed.
We're not talking about that.
Well, on the racetrack, when cars like wreck and like flip out and explode.
I gotta be honest. I think
That's like
Cars.
breaking an arm.
I laugh more watching Cars 2 than I do watching Wall-E.
So
I said it.
wait, where does Josh stand on this issue?
I think it's a
Like I
tie.
said, I think I might be the tiebreaker here.
Uh,
Well, see, Wally has heart,
It does.
but Cars 2 has a mater in the groin. Damn it, I wasn't going to do too many Simpsons references.
Okay.
No, well, here's the thing. I agree in that Wally is not a comedy by design. It has some comedic moments, but the idea of it is actually a lot more depressing when you think about it, whereas Cars 2 knows it's a ludicrous premise, doesn't care, and does whatever it wants. So, with that said, I will also go with Cars 2.
this is
I think you might be
unparalleled.
trying to convince me.
This is unparalleled. I bet every other bracket
not
tournament,
happy about
Cars
that
2 would be like, "Oh, this movie's a bag of ass. Oh, die!" Boom, and then it's gone, and we never think about it again.
Calm down.
And then it's like, you have like other movies that are just soar over Cars 2, but it's actually in the running. This is unbelievable. Speaking of which, we have next round Toy Story 2 versus Toy Story 4, the even numbered ones.
let's hear it out.
We did that one recently.
Toy Story 2 is the
Okay.
best Toy Story.
Best musical score.
Can I be? I'm gonna.
Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2 has the best musical score
Evan,
because
1, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Yeah, da 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 da. I think Toy Story 2 just won this, so I'm gonna select
yeah.
it.
Well, here's the thing. Toy Story 4's score was a fanfare score.
It kind of just like hit all the best.
It
hits.
literally just recycled all the themes from the other Toy Story movies.
Agreed.
Well, when it was in development hell for as long as it was, of course the score is going to be one of the things that gets recycled.
Yeah, it was very recyclable. Toy Story 2, I have a lot of
Toy
great
Story
memories with all
2
that.
was awesome.
And like I
Yeah,
get
the beginning sequence, the Will She Let Me song.
the Woody's
everything
Roundup.
Woody's Roundup.
Yeah,
Dur,
Woody-
dur, dur,
I
dur,
love
dur,
that,
dur.
like, you have the standard classical score, but then with Woody's Roundup, you have that old time, like, almost bluegrass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we
You
agree.
very rarely see bluegrass and Americana outside of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou acknowledged in the 2000s. Like, that one film soundtrack was all people wanted to hear with bluegrass.
Yeah. Okay, well that was an easy win. Sorry, Toy Story 4. You tried, but you should have tried harder. Next up.
Yeah,
It
you
should've
should
never
have
existed.
come out like 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
Or not at all.
Oh, she said it.
I agree. I like Toy Story 4, but I do agree it didn't.
I feel like I need to rewatch Toy Story 4. I remember I liked it when it came out, and then the more I thought about it, the more I kind of like it didn't sit well with me. I don't know if it'll hold up the second time.
It was the biggest cash grab they've ever done. They did not need to do
No,
that movie at
no.
all. They ended up
The
killing
Cars
it.
movies were bigger. No, the Cars movies were bigger. Okay,
Lightyear was a bigger.
no. Here's the thing: Toy Story and Cars are are Pixar's most profitable franchises because they rake in the most money by merchandising. Where the real money from the movie is made.
We really gotta keep going.
Yeah.
So next up we have The Incredibles versus Toy Story 3.
What's the?
Oh man, two of the strongest Pixar films.
Can we please?
Best voice cast.
Oh God. I'm actually gonna say
Perfect.
this is gonna be a great debate. So This is not
This-
easy.
This is so tough.
So, the villain in The Incredibles voiced both his adult self and younger self, which is awesome. Lotso is voiced by Ned Beatty.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I mean, the cast does a good job in Toy Story
my
3.
God, I gotta think about every single one. Like Toy Story 3, you have all the old standby characters still doing their best
Yeah,
work.
with the exception
Estelle
of
Harris
Sophie
gets
Buff,
expanded
which she
as
wasn't in
Mrs.
3,
Potato
but
Head.
also wasn't in 4. But it's all the same people that have been in there, so it's like if you've
I mean,
seen one or
Tom
two.
Hanks, Tim Allen.
Yeah.
I know it's like
But in
Joan-
Incredibles, you got
Joan
Coach
Cusack
in
as
there. You have
Jessie.
Coach as Mr. Incredible. You have an NPR contributor as the daughter. You have the Snakes on a Plane dude.
Samuel
Or
J-
name another movie he's been in.
Oh man, this is so hard. And
No, you have Samuel L. Jackson. Dude, that one scene
That
with
was
his
the one.
wife alone. Is
Yeah.
iconic.
Honey,
Okay,
Where's my super
And
suit?
of
that's
course,
the one.
The
Incredibles has
Incredibles
Brad Bird
voice
doing
cast
the
was
voice.
more adult than Toy
Oh
Story.
yeah, Brad Bird is Edna.
Oh God.
Yeah. Actually, I'm
Darling.
the more I think about it, I'm
It's hard
going
to say.
I'm gonna say Incredibles gets the point because the cast had to be more creative with their roles. Like
There's a lot more range of emotion in
Yeah.
Incredibles too. I mean, well, not Incredibles 2, The Incredibles.
yeah.
But Toy Story 3, I mean, there's that too. I'm not saying like it's sloppy and dramatic moments. That would be silly of me.
I stand by my comment where I said, remember Jason Lee voiced Syndrome, both Buddy the young
My
kid.
name is Cinder.
and speaking of villains, Eric Von Detten came back to do da 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 ba 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 ba. Yeah, he came back to play.
He made a bad.
He made a good paycheck off of doing just that.
You know,
reprising
you
his
should
shit.
hear that. You should have that in like a Moody Boy song. Beer, beer, beer,
Ba,
beer,
ba, ba. Yeah, but
Honestly, guys, I think I thought it was difficult at first, and it still kind of is. But I think my vote is going to The Incredibles mostly because of Edna Mode.
Yes.
I mean, that was the most
Edna's a
voice
character.
acting.
Edna's a gem.
Okay.
This is because Toy Story 3's cast doesn't have talent, does it? Well, not every voice cast has talent, you know. You can make a good movie without it. We invented it.
They're talented. It's just hard. They're both excellent, and they hit. It's like the highest highs of Toy Story 3. But The Incredibles.
Toy Story 3, most of the returning people you've heard already, so you already have an idea of what they're gonna do.
Yeah, if it was Toy Story 2, I'd probably have a harder
Yeah.
It'd be even
Because you have
more
Kelsey,
impossible.
you have Kelsey Grammer and
Yeah. All right, you know
What
what?
are you guys
I call
voting
them
for?
prospector
There's
I-
one vote for The Incredibles.
Incredibles.
Okay, I'll go
Incredibles.
Incredibles.
3
Sorry,
votes, yay.
Shouldn't
That
you
would-
be happy?
I'm happy. It was a hard choice. All right. I mean, they're all coming back, but Luca versus Cars 3. That's the next round. Luca versus Cars 3. All right. What we got here? And we did that recently. Okay, best premise. That's one we haven't done yet.
I mean, I guess taking that it's like base point, I guess I would give it to Cars 3 because there is a premise.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
how
think
is there not a premise with
Cars
Luca?
3
There's
is
totally a
pretty
premise with
deep.
Luca.
well, Luca, it's a young fish boy. He wants to see the upper crest of the outside world. He wants to go on land. And he wants to have a Vespa, and he befriends
Luca
Bruno.
is
Eat pasta, and I should have some pasta.
But Cars 3,
Luca is more simple in the premise, while like Cars 3 is a little bit deeper because I mean you've been with these characters for quite some time now.
Lightning
And
McQueen.
at this point, Lightning McQueen is at the end of his career, and he's like, "Well, what am I gonna do?" And it's the whole passing the torch kind of thing.
yeah, to be
And
honest,
it's kind of bittersweet. At
Yeah,
the
you
end.
know, as someone who just saw Cars 3 for the first time ever today, I'm actually going to say, yeah, Cars 3 has a good premise.
it's a good selling point.
Cars 3 is what Cars 2 should have been,
All right,
but I digress.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
it
Yeah.
reinforces the whole Cars is the Fast and Furious of Pixar.
I
There's
guess
cars and
so.
explosions, and there's family, and there's family,
Hey, these
fast.
two movies
So
about
basically,
cars.
Cars 2 was the Fast 5.
Vin Diesel.
This is like the Fate of the Furious then?
No, Vin Diesel should have been
Wait.
the new
That would've
new
been-
advanced
did
racer
you,
in
Josh?
Cars 3.
Josh, let me get this straight. Did you just say Cars 2 is like the Fast 5?
Fast
The
Five
one where
was
it goes really off the rails.
Fast
I don't
Five's
remember
like the
exactly which
best
one.
Fast Five is
movie.
one of the best
Maybe
ones.
it's either the
But it's
one where the
it's
cars
ridiculous.
like
He's
Furious
right.
again, or F6.
No,
The
no, no,
one
no,
where
no,
the
no.
cars
Okay.
are driving out of the plane.
I've seen all the movies, dude. I think Cars 2 is basically Fast 9. They fight cars with magnets, which is actually a plot point in Cars 2. And like for some
That's the
reason
newest
Vin
one.
Diesel
You know
and
what? I believe
John
that.
Cena
I
are
believe the
related,
newest
so
one.
I don't know. Okay. Cars 3
Yeah,
wins.
Cars 3 isn't my favorite Cars,
Mhm.
but I really appreciate it, especially because, like, I don't know, I think because I dealt with the same thing in, like, the athlete sort of sense. Every athlete has to face that at some point in their career where it's like, okay, my body can't keep up anymore.
Okay.
Not with, it's not the same as, like, the young people coming up, the new talent. So you just have to accept your fate and retire, even though it's not something that you want to do. But
Yeah, exactly.
there are other ways to still enjoy, like, the game that you love.
And I really love that Lightning was realizing that he's turning into Doc in the long. Like you see a lot of the
Yeah.
flashbacks to when Doc was around Lightning's age, and like his mentor was like, like I feel like Cars 3 is the proper tribute to Paul Newman that the sequel should have been, but that's why you sort of
Yes.
see that like now Lightning is turning into that role. So if they do make a Cars 4 in the next 5 to 10 years, which maybe they will, I could very well see Cruise becoming the new face of the franchise. So I guess I'll downgrade this to being like F7, you know, where they pay tribute to Paul Walker and it's all about family and one last ride.
That's
That's a perfect way to cap that off. Yeah, Cars 3 wins. All right, next up, Turning Red versus Finding Nemo, and it's we did that one like 5 rounds ago. Best action sequences. This was the one Turning Red.
We did that with Turning Red.
Well, actually, Finding Nemo has a chase sequence with a shark in a submarine wreck. It has the East Australian current surfing scene. The whole.
I mean, the surfing scene's not so much action as it is a nice sequence.
Yeah.
What about the Nigel the Pelican flying and invading the seagulls?
That was a good chase scene.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
And the final
I think
climax.
Finding Nemo would trump over it because of all those little action bits.
And even the climax where they have to like swim as fast as they can
Just
to
keep
like
swimming.
That's true.
To-
To get away from the SpongeBob
to
guy,
capsize
as I
the
call
boat
him.
and break the net. Yeah.
That's true. Well, I guess that is true. There's smaller action sequences in Finding Nemo, but they are spread out enough that it adds up to more than just turning red, which is very much like a looming. I mean, granted, there is the first time that Mei turns into the panda and she's like jumping off on all the buildings and stuff, but that's not so much action as it is her getting the hang of the panda form, whereas it's really the last arc, like the last sequence that's the real act.
I also think I think the stakes are higher in Finding Nemo too, because there's a scene where like Marlin and Dory almost get eaten alive by a shark.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of
the anglerfish.
The jellyfish and the anglerfish.
The anglerfish, yeah.
You know,
the jellyfish scene was nice, but the anglerfish one, even as like when that came out, that was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, I think Finding Nemo wins. That's pretty cut and dry.
I agree.
Next is Toy Story versus Soul.
Okay.
And the category is best computer animation.
Soul automatic. Soul's a winner by default.
I feel bad.
That's also not fair because when you have like 25 years on something, of course.
This is a category that definitely sides with the newest Pixar's, and as innovative as Toy Story is, even if it is one of my favorite films of all time, I can't deny it's aged. And I think they could even.
God, it's real ugly compared to the
I don't know. Have you watched Toy recently? That animation is pretty.
There are
Toy. Oh my god.
There are unfortunately PS3 games that look better than Toy Story.
I think Toy Story is well due for a remaster. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, no, I feel like they already did like what a 25th anniversary Blu-ray. I feel like they will do one for the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, just like update the animation and all the particles and all that. But at the same time, it's nice seeing the way it was back in the day. But honestly, Soul wins. There's no real contest, unfortunately. But I'll always love. Okay, next round. The sequel versus sequel. Toy Story 2 versus Cars 2. Let's see.
Category is.
You're not getting away with it.
And let's see if we can get.
You're not getting away with it this time.
Best story.
Is this even a
Okay.
question?
Oh!
You
It
have to
has
rescue
story in the
Penguin Robert
title.
Delay's voice box, and then it turns into something else altogether.
I mean, okay, sorry Cars 2. My undying shitposty love for you can only go so far. Toy Story 2 is a titan of storytelling.
It is.
And I have to give it to this. Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Then let's move
Like,
on.
it's not even a question.
Okay, next up, The Incredibles versus Cars 3. Man, the Cars movies are kind of holding up in this tournament. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's what happens when they're the most
Well,
profitable.
strength in numbers, as someone once said.
All right, we had this one recently. Which movie had the deepest themes? Because we talked about the themes in Cars 3 like not
I'm gonna
even a
say The
minute ago.
Incredibles because The Incredibles deals with being past your prime more deeper than with Cars. Because
I tend to agree.
Lightning doesn't have a family. Like Mr. Incredible does have a family, and so does Elastigirl.
Wait, so he came from nothing?
I don't want to think about that, Josh.
Yeah,
I
No,
mean,
but wait, he's red, and there's a blue car, but the blue car came from someone, so they can have the power. But shouldn't the red car not have the power if they didn't come from anybody?
you are discussing the procreation of automobiles.
they all came out of a factory, and that's all we need to think about.
No, I'm discussing the Star Wars parallels.
And
because I
now,
thought that would
and
be
now I'm
your
thinking
thing.
about The Incredibles and how a guy with super strength and a woman with elasticity. Okay, I'm gonna shut up.
You
Okay.
said it, not me.
Hey, I feel-
terrible.
I feel like okay. So full disclosure, we
I
did
think
not.
also part of the Incredibles. This is why it's getting my point. It also deals with the kids trying to grow into their own superpowers amongst the
Yes.
usual environments kids and teenagers are in, and having to suppress all of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot going on with The Incredibles. It is a deeper film
And then
than
there's just
Cars
Jack
3.
who just doesn't care.
Cars 3 is like the deepest of the Cars movies, but it doesn't really
It's
hold.
not the deepest
It's
Pixar
not.
movie.
It's shallow compared to The Incredibles, which is like a huge.
Everyone,
one of the most.
everyone's special, Lyle.
Now see,
And then no
what
one
they
will
should have
be.
done in Incredibles 2 is have one of the superheroes be a shapeshifter that can turn into any form. And
Oh,
then
like Jack
there's a
Jack.
Blink and You Miss It one where they turn into lightning
Okay.
or Mater really quick.
All right.
You know, a Cars character.
Incredibles wins. Let's keep going. Next up, Finding Nemo versus Soul. And
Wait, are we at the last two? The
um
last four movies?
yeah, last 4.
We're burning through this pretty quick.
Best musical score.
I'm going to say Finding Nemo because
Soul is literally all about music,
you're not
dude.
topping
Literally
Trent
music.
Reznor. You're not topping Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. You're not.
I mean, granted, okay, granted,
John Batiste with his piano work.
granted, I do remember the music from Finding Nemo a little better than Soul.
yeah,
It's like ba ba da.
That might
ba
be
da
because
ba da.
you've seen it more.
Yeah,
than
that's
Soul.
probably what it is. What it comes down
that's
to.
what I'm saying. Like I'm the biased prick who is also Thomas
But Soul
Newman.
has the most. It has wonderful like jazz.
Oh, it
sequences.
does.
Yeah.
I'm not saying just because I think I don't. I'm not by no stretch of the imagination is Soul's score bad. It's really well done.
It's kind of like
This one's a toss-up.
It kind of leans into one really more just based on the premise of Soul alone.
I would agree.
So I mean, I think I'll have to give it.
Has some musical moments that are nice, like of course Dory's song, which will never leave your head, and then the closing song over the credits, that's Somewhere Beyond
the sea. Well,
It's almost
that.
actually, yeah, that's the precursor to Soul, having an old jazz song play at the end.
Fair enough.
Okay, so who are we voting?
I'm picking Soul. I'm sorry. Like the jazz in Soul is wonderful, and it connects with me more than anything from Finding Nemo.
Okay, what about you, Evan? You're picking Finding Nemo.
This is not actually. This is tougher than I thought. Quite honestly. Well, I'm not. It's just that.
Random songs, 9 Inch Nails. What's to argue?
Where's a? What do you mean?
Okay. If Josh is picking Soul, I'll pick Soul.
Fine. We'll see.
Now I kind of want to see a 9 Inch Nails score for like the more intense version of 9 Inch Nails.
Oh God, I knew it was gonna come to this. Toy Story 2 versus The Incredibles.
Let's just hear it out.
And best emotional moment.
Oh no! I think Toy Story 2 wins.
Well,
when
The
somebody,
Incredibles may have some like serious moments, but again,
when
when two others
Syndrome
just
launched a
become
rocket, my family was almost disintegrated. But then they landed on the island and we kicked his butt. When Buddy launched a rocket.
best emotional.
Yeah,
When
that's
somebody's
every
rocket.
time.
when he wants to go me, Bob.
Buddy Pine's rocket. Okay, sorry.
This is okay. The
Uh,
best emotional moment. I think it was pretty okay. Emotional in what context? Like, actually, remember, like both scenes real deal with both scenes really test the mortality of these characters. Like, remember when Stinky Pete has Woody at like literally pickaxe point? He says, "Hey, you can go to Japan together or in pieces." It's like, I'm gonna fucking maim you if you don't do what I say. And then with Syndrome, you have Mr. Incredible captures Mirage and he threatens to crush her. It'll be easy, like breaking a toothpick.
I'm waiting.
Show me.
What about the Kronos scene in Incredibles?
Oh,
That
God.
was superhero genocide, dude.
Yeah, like
Insane.
it's okay. I'm actually I'm
This
leaning
is-
more towards The
I know,
Incredibles,
this is
to be
bad
honest.
story. I haven't seen it in a while.
No, I'm leaning more towards The Incredibles.
They're both. I mean, these
Really?
are
Yes.
both some of the best Pixar movies ever. I think I think the Jesse thing is more sad overall because I know like when
It makes you more emotional.
Not-
than in
because when in The Incredibles it's
What
like
makes
I know
you cry?
I know Bob's not gonna kill Mirage. I know the kids and the family aren't dead when they get hit with the rocket. Like in Bob's perspective, it's really sad, but ultimately it's like
You know they're alive.
I know they're fine. Like with Toy
Yeah,
Story
it doesn't
2,
make you sad.
Okay,
being
I do
abandoned
acknowledge
is sad.
That sequence is more to establish Jessie's backstory of why she's afraid to let another like owner into her life again.
Well,
At the end, she is still fine. Like there are more stakes with Incredibles.
Yeah.
Okay,
Where
but-
like it's not just the supers' lives that are in danger. It's clearly there's a much bigger threat involved.
Yeah, I guess Woody's like major arc is like trying to decide whether he should stay with Andy, even though ultimately he will eventually outgrow him. There's that.
So what you're saying?
You're right,
is,
Prospector. I can't stop Andy
Andy
from growing.
Should he go? Da 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 da.
Link, link, link. Okay, so
Guys, my vote's Toy Story 2. I don't know why this is even a debate.
Because it's content, we have to have debate.
No.
She's
it's a
Josh
fun
is
I'd
right.
discussion.
like to remind everyone to click the like button and hit the bell and notifications so you know when there's new episodes up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like content.
Comment
Like,
content.
comment, subscribe.
Share. Tell your friends, and then they'll tell their friends. Okay, so Evan, you're voting Incredibles. Josh, you're voting Incredibles. Veronica's voting Toy Story 2, so I'm the outlier here.
Well, you know, it all comes down to you. If you pick football in the groin, we're not going to resolve this deadlock.
No, see,
It works on so many
It's just-
layers.
If it's a tie, can we just use a Monster Reborn and pick any random Pixar film to throw back in?
No, this is already going to be a long enough episode as it is. We're an hour into this, and we're almost halfway through. Actually, we're doing pretty good.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll pick Incredibles. Yeah.
Just because the stakes are a little bit more elevated, I'll go with The Incredibles. But Toy Story 2 is so damn close it hurts.
You nearly died.
Well,
You
they
know,
they may have
they
nearly
died.
died, but they nearly died even more in the next one. So
Mhm. Next,
at worst,
okay.
they would have just been flown around the world.
Okay, this is an interesting matchup for our final round. And this is none other than Soul versus The Incredibles for our to see who's king of this entire bracket. And the best voice cast.
Soul.
Incredibles.
We did it already.
Wait, you guys like the voice cast of Incredibles better?
I think it's because I'm
Of
just
course.
I'm not a fan
I'm
of
sorry,
Tina
Fey
Fey.
is so annoying.
I don't like Tina Fey in
That's what
Soul.
I thought.
She's
That's
really
why it felt
annoying.
Like deep Vanellope vibes, because Tina Fey and Sarah Silverman have that same approach of like being comic relief. That's like clearly going against the protagonist, but then you kind of find their own backstory.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but Sarah Silverman did it so well. Like, I actually
Yeah.
like Penelope, and I think she's cute. Well, like,
Well, that's why
Well,
Wreck-It
the-
Ralph did it better.
I just find
Except the sequel had its own problems, but that's not.
I find 22 too
Mhm.
entitled. Like I don't like her very much. And then we
yeah,
have
she's such a brat.
I don't know
yeah.
about you, but she doesn't feel 22.
No.
I'm feeling 22.
Yeah, but I mean like I don't know who does the voice of Joe personally, and I feel bad, but he did a solid job. But
Jamie
What did
Jamie
you
Fox.
Joe, the
Jamie
main
Fox?
character?
Okay.
Yeah, that was Jamie Fox.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so that's
I
the
only
I
only saw
only
Soul
just imagine
once.
Jamie Foxx like pretending to be young Ray Charles with this movie. Nothing against his voice work; it's really great. But he already kind of did this kind of movie, and it was called Ray. And it
Yeah.
also won a bunch of Oscars.
I think it's pretty clear that I mean, we had this debate already with The Incredibles, and I wish we had more categories because I feel like sometimes we kind of have to recycle. But there's just so many challenges, so I think Incredibles has the better voice cast overall. Are we in
Yeah.
agreement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Incredibles is on top of the list, like I predicted, and
Well, I mean, we're getting close to mid 2000 nostalgia, so I'm sure this is already going to come back around.
okay. So we need to see who comes up on top. Speaking of it, next up. It happened again.
Up versus
Up,
what?
up versus what in the Cars versus Up. And the category is best story.
Up. No question.
Uh,
Wait, up
The
versus
first 10 minutes.
Up versus
does
Cars.
Give you the stakes, then Cars.
Up
yeah, the first 10 minutes was a movie in and of itself.
and no,
Like, wait,
I kind of want to.
movie in this movie?
I hate to say
There's
it.
a movie in the movie.
For these next ones, I kind of want to power through them since we kind of
Okay.
discussed like some. But like if it's an easy answer, then we can keep going.
Okay, so are we doing like lightning round?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we
that
just
was.
say we each vote without even saying.
I mean, if you have like a point or two, but like I guess like I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I don't know.
Okay.
If it's pretty unanimous, then we should move on. Speaking of light, we have Lightyear versus Finding Dory. Evan,
And the category is
which was funnier? Finding Dory.
I'm
going Finding Dory just because.
Can I? Okay,
Dory.
just to prove the point, we saw Lyle and I saw Lightyear in a theater with kids and their parents on a Sunday afternoon, and no one was laughing at the funny scenes.
Yeah,
It was so.
the humor was really bad.
The
in
humor
Lightyear.
was flat,
and it was also very dour. Like the whole story, I just kind of felt like, oh
Yeah.
man, this is dark. Okay.
Oh, so it's a DC animated movie. Why didn't you tell me?
Okay. Next up, Luca versus Ratatouille. Both movies make me want to eat food.
Ratatouille makes me want to eat food more because food is a more central part of the
Best
food development.
best computer animation is the category.
I like the effect of I like the water
Again,
effects in Luca, but Ratatouille to me the colors and the way Paris looks just
They did
stands
such
out
a
to
good
me.
It's
job
so
with Paris.
vibrant. The
Yeah.
background animation when you see the Eiffel Tower in the background, that whole like silhouetted part.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think Ratatouille, despite its age, I think like the human characters look great. Like even for its
It
time,
looks really nice. Actually.
It has aged-
Yeah, it's pretty on par.
it aged beautifully. And Luca, it's like it has a style. It's not a style.
It's vibrant and it's beautiful.
It's a
And
nice
I
looking
love
style.
the animation of the water and stuff. But yeah, I think Ratatouille would
Ratatouille,
win this one.
Ratatouille, for lack of a better word, is richer. I think.
Well, you know what they say: you have to eat the rich.
What?
There's
Okay.
also that Aerosmith song.
Okay. This is an interesting one that Josh came up with. Best. Okay, sorry. The two movies are Toy Story 3 and Up. And which movie had the best animal character?
Wait. Well, what's the
Oh, that's
best animal
It's
character
kind of oddly specific.
for which
but-
movie?
Oh God, Evan.
Well,
Okay, so it's
Sorry,
Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 3 and Up.
I'm gonna say
because
Up.
of Doug.
Up kind of wins, yeah.
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Well,
Is that unfair? I mean, technically, some
I
of the
just met you, and I love you.
toys are based on animals, but it's not. The
No,
same, I guess.
even if you
Wait a minute.
compare.
That makes Doug a Carly Rae Jepsen fan, and that was 3 years before Call Me Maybe was ever a thing.
What's the?
Because that whole Doug, I just met you, and I love you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess Up kind of gets like the bias here.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Toy Story 3 is so beloved, but yeah, it's just a
That's
bad
the
luck.
thing. There may be like animal-esque characters. Like I didn't count Slinky as a character as an animal because he's technically a toy. He's not an animal first.
Yeah, I think the only animal you see.
The only animal is Buster, and he's like really old in that movie.
Oh, I mean, there's some pigeons that peck at Mr.
What are you looking
Tortilla
at?
Head.
What are you looking at? Feathers?
Mr. Tortilla
I
Head.
love the way he says that. He
Wait,
talk
are they the
like
penguins?
penguin. There are no penguins in.
No,
No,
the
the
pigeons remind me of the penguins from Madagascar. The pigeons from Toy Story.
Oh.
Okay.
Huh?
All right.
You didn't
Up
see anything.
wins. Next
Yes.
is Toy Story 4 versus Brave.
What's the category?
I'd laugh if it's best female character. Okay, best pacing.
Toy Story 4. Is Brave?
agree.
I feel like both of them
No.
are not like paced that great, but like
Yeah.
I think
have-
Brave has better pacing because at least it follows the story. I don't know.
it kind of does.
It's like Toy Story 4 kind of like goes off the rails every now and then. It feels like it keeps going on tangents,
Yeah.
especially with freaking Forky all the time.
Yeah, Forky does kind of like hurt the narrative
Forky's
sometimes.
kind of like a lot of darkness that's not necessarily needed, but like I respect them for going that route. See,
Hmm.
Brave for me kind of feels like, what if Freaky Friday swapped out the body switching for Brother Bear? That's basically what both. It's like Freaky Friday with the mother-daughter dynamic, but Brother Bear with someone gets turned into a
No,
bear.
it's
and then
literally
it's,
Freaky. If Freaky Friday and Brother
Freaky
Bear were
Bear.
fused into a movie.
Brother Friday. Yes.
Yeah, so I picked Brave, guys.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
a good
I mean,
argument.
I guess it has pacing.
It does, and someone
The
took
bear is
someone
amazing.
took
Ah,
film
I
and
think
edited it.
Bear is
Okay. Toy Story 4. Yeah. Okay. I'll give it to Brave. What do you think, Evan?
I've only seen Brave once, but go ahead.
I've actually seen Brave more times than Toy Story 4. That's
Wow.
strange.
I saw
Me
Brave,
too.
I think, once when it came out. I maybe have seen it once in the last 10 years.
Actually, I've seen them both the same, only twice.
Oh wow. Next.
Here's a weird music aside. You ever wonder if that Sarah Bareilles song should have just been used in that film and not written to compete with Roar the next year?
I don't remember that song.
I wanna see you be brave.
Oh, I don't like that song.
It's overplayed.
I wanna see you be a bear.
Finish this movie.
Next up is Wall-E versus Monsters Inc.
Category.
Okay.
Best female character?
Eve wins. The only female character. No, there's. It's a
Boo and Celia and Roz.
Boo versus Eve.
Roz.
Damn. I love Wally, but it's getting clobbered into
I
unfortunate.
like Boo.
That's what I'm
Wally
saying.
Has Steve, and like the female human on the ship.
Yeah,
and
Kathy and Jiminy. Yeah.
Sigourney
Yeah,
Weaver is the voice of the
He's
whole
a
ship.
bitch.
Yeah, and Sigourney Weaver is
That's
the
because
voice
was
of the
actually
computer.
A pretty pivotal anchor to Monsters Inc. Of course, Roz is Roz, so she trumps everybody.
I agree.
And then Celia's just kind of there though.
Celia's fun though.
Well, I guess there's also
Yes,
the
yes,
training professor, the one, no, not the Medusa type, but like.
Oh yeah,
one
the
that
Bonnie
has, like,
Hunt
the-
character. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, and leaving a door open is the worst mistake any employee can make because it could let in a trap.
It could let in a child. Bonnie Hunt, man, she's in
I'm
so
letting
many
out the
Pixar
bubble.
movies. Bonnie Hunt is in so many
Yeah.
Pixar movies. It's actually insane. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's how my
Yes.
12th husband died.
We gotta
So now I'm a
vote,
widow.
We gotta vote Monsters Inc. for me.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Okay.
Eva.
That
Okay,
sucks
no-
because Wally. I love Wally.
Evangelion?
Wall-E Evangelion. The end of the world.
You
Someone make
know,
fan
if
art
you
of that.
Treat it just the right way. Lightyear and Wally put together, you could get a basic version of Evangelion.
Yeah, pretty basic version of Evangelion is right. Next up is Onward and Inside Out.
Well, this will be close.
Best protagonist.
Inside Out because Joy is technically.
Because it's Leslie Knope in animated form. It's
I
seen
hate-
Parks and Recreation.
I hate Joy.
Why?
I actually don't like this
Well,
movie.
let's pretend that the guy that's playing the character in Onward isn't Spider-Man.
That's hard to
You
do.
still care about the character.
I'd still rather watch Onward than Inside Out.
I don't know, dude. Like,
I
it's
hate
hard.
Inside Out.
I mean, Joy just has so much more depth than Tom Holland's I can't even remember Tom Holland's character's name. Like, what is his character's name?
I don't remember his name either.
Elf boy
Look, everyone just
magician
thinks of
man.
it as Spider-Man and Star-Lord's road trip adventure, so I'm gonna.
So
say
that's not a
that.
good sign of a good character. If I can't see him
I can remember
as
the
anything other than just Tom Holland doing a voice, then that's pretty bad character design.
yeah
So for that, I'm gonna vote Joy.
Inside Out. Yeah,
Or sorry, yeah, Joy and Inside Out.
Joy also
His
has a.
character's name is Ian Lightfoot.
Okay.
I swear,
And
there's
what's-
got to be a Gordon somewhere in that family.
Oh, Josh, you musician man. I knew you musical man. I knew you were gonna say that. Sorry, Veronica.
It's okay. I knew I was gonna lose that one. I'm kind of the odd one out in terms of Inside Out.
They should
okay.
call the sequel Odd One Out.
Ooh. Next one is A Bug's Life versus Monsters University. All right. Best ending.
A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
It's
I
because
I
Monsters
kind of like
University.
Monsters University.
It does
I do like
essentially
Monsters
foreshadow what
University.
Monsters Inc. is, but because it's so much after, we know what happens.
Yeah, but you know what? The ending of Monsters University was like really interesting because Mike this whole time was struggling to be scary. Like he knew all the ways to be scary, but never got to apply it. So when they got into the human world and they had to scare adults, and he got to use his intelligence to like actually scare them, it was pretty satisfying. Even
Yeah.
though they got expelled at the
And
end,
they
I'm
still
like,
got
wow, that was
expelled.
really cool.
But and it does show you don't always. It's not always about who you know to get into the workplace. I mean, I guess it was still back then. When you start in the mailroom and work your way up. But it does also give a lot of great depth to why Mike ends up being a scare assistant because he clearly has to know how to be a good scarer.
Yeah.
But he would rather step aside and let Sully, who has the clear A-list potential, be the real star because he's more of a behind-the-scenes background person.
He kind of becomes the coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he trains him.
Yeah.
Actually,
so I really like that over A Bug's Life, where they're like, okay, you can like
We can
do
like
your
flick
invention stuff now.
No,
Okay, you can
we
A
get
like
Bug's Life-
flick now.
A Bug's Life is the generic evil is just evil's punished, good guys win ending.
Oh my god.
And we have to gather the forces.
There isn't
And
really.
we have a horrible second act low point that really taints my feelings on the movie.
Mm.
I mean, it's somewhat exciting.
Monsters-
I do like seeing Hopper getting eaten by a bird,
Mm.
but you know,
The bird thing was kind of interesting, just because like that was the more intense one. I mean, it was sort of forced out. It might have been just because I played the video game a lot as a kid, more than I had seen the movie. Though I do own it. I played the game more recently than I've seen the film.
I never beat that game. I played it at a friend's house, and I always
It was
got.
hard even as a kid.
I got stuck on
Which,
these.
by the way, as an aside, Disney, if you're going to license the Toy Story 2 game for the new version of PS Plus, can you do the Bugs Life one too? And the New Groove one, but that's a different thing.
I got stuck on. I got stuck on the riverbed level, and I couldn't.
what are we deciding, everyone?
Can we just go with
I
Monsters?
pick
Monsters University is more clever.
You know,
Monsters University.
I agree. We made an excellent point for that. I thought it was a little bit more obvious, but I was clearly
There's more to it than just that one scene where the Mastodon song plays.
yeah. I was wrong. Next up, oh boy, The Good Dinosaur versus Finding Dory.
The 2016 lineup.
Okay, which
No, it was
movie?
2015.
Which movie
Oh,
had?
2016. Sorry,
Which movie had a better opening scene?
Finding Dory.
I guess Finding Dory because I can barely remember anything about the Good Dog.
The Good Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Arlo.
See, this is how mediocre, like how average the Good Dinosaur is. I'm mixing it up with other things.
Okay, I remember the opening of Good Dinosaur. It was basically Arlo hatches from the egg, but he's like weaker than his brother and sister. But then his dad is like, "Hey, son, one day you'll put your paw print on the rock, and you'll be a man."
Okay, that is clearly Brother Bear.
Yeah.
When you put the
that's
paw,
boring.
the handprint and the paw print.
Finding Dory, you got
Eugene Levy and Diane
Diane
Keaton.
Keys. I almost say Catherine O'Hara. Sorry.
Hey, for once, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara.
Finding
That would be a
Dory.
little Schitt's Creek.
Finding Dory goes up Schitt's Creek to find her parents. Oh my god! Why didn't they do that?
That's the third
You
movie.
need to
That's
create
why I
a
like
separate
Schitt's Creek
letterbox
better.
account for funny one-liners about movies.
We really should.
Yeah, I'm
We.
picking Finding Dory.
I agree. I agree. It was nice to see some context with Dory as a
Familiar
character.
characters versus Dino Farmers.
Okay, next up, Coco versus Incredibles 2. Highest box office.
Oh, we're gonna have to do
Oh, that's
research
not
for
fair.
this.
Oh, it's not
I
fair.
think it might still be Coco.
Let's see.
Coco, I think, made more money.
I think it's no, because no, it's good. It made more money.
It did? Okay, Coco made a box office
They
of...
didn't say it made. Can we say if we say it made more money, it made more money?
No, Josh, that's not how numbers and
Josh,
math work.
that was great, psychic friend. Now say money should be falling from the sky.
Say it! Say it! Robots is underrated.
That's
sorry.
not a Pixar movie. We can't talk about.
It was an aside! Okay, so Coco's box office was $807.8 million. And Incredibles 2,
Probably Incredibles 2, in my opinion.
we'll see.
Incredibles 2 was one of the most anticipated sequels known to man. So
Incredibles 2 made
So
one.
it definitely fell short.
Incredibles 2 made $1.245 billion. That's
I freaking knew it.
Well,
significantly
I guess
more.
sometimes anticipated sequels fall short. Other times they make more than they should. And then sometimes it's deserved.
I feel bad. I feel like Coco really got a bad end of the stick
You
here.
got the short end of the stick. That movie's awesome.
It's
Wally
so
got
good.
the shit end of the stick, and I'm mad about that too.
That's
Like, if
too
it
bad.
had the best music category, oh my god.
Or like innovation,
Hey,
even because
Remember Me is wonderful.
Or the
Remember Me.
animation.
Yeah,
Man,
they
you
had
know
to
how
create a.
incredible that scene is when he sees like the
Now
city
you're
with
discovering
the
Salt
dead.
from the Moon. It just lost to the sequel.
And they had to develop an entirely new lighting program to create like that city sequence.
Oh my god, it was gorgeous.
Just
It
so
blew my mind.
many bad categories for Coco. I am sorry, Coco. Go watch Coco.
I'm sorry, Wally.
It's better than Incredibles 2, but apparently
Go
not
watch
monetarily.
Go watch Wally. That's my third favorite
So we have
Pixar
some
film of
people
all
that are
time.
cuckoo for Coco.
Next up is Ratatouille versus Up. This will be hard.
Ooh.
Best ending.
I'm gonna say Ratatouille.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Up.
Ratatouille has the more satisfying thing. Linguini runs the restaurant, and like
Remy
he
gets to cook.
achieves his goal, and Remy basically gets to help out. I mean, granted, that's why this is a movie, because in reality, the health board, well, you can see they shut down to show the rats, obviously, but like apparently, I guess as long as the people don't see the rats, then who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to suspend your disbelief.
That sounds like McDonald's logo. As long as McDonald's, as long as you don't see
With
the rats.
the Big Macs, it's less fatness.
It's kind of ironic
I mean,
because
Up was really sweet at the end. That like what's his Carl?
Yeah, Carl.
Got to like put the little badge on Russell, and he gave him
fulfill
Ellie's
his wife's
badge.
wish.
Yeah, that was a
That
good
really
one.
Sweet.
It's weird because Up
It's
has
more
like
of
the
a
best
bittersweet
opening.
ending, really.
Up has the
But
best.
yeah, Ratatouille was more satisfying.
Yeah, Ratatouille has a stronger ending than Up, which is
Unfortunately,
funny
at
because
the end
Up
of the
has
day,
a.
Ellie's no longer there, so Carl is still gonna have to live the rest of his days without her.
Wow, make me hate myself.
Oh my god. Okay.
Also, the actor who played Carl, passed. Yeah, he got to join Ellie, so to speak, up in heaven.
Okay, rest in peace, Ed Asner. Yes. Okay, next up, Brave versus Monsters Inc.
This better be a good category.
I hope so. Which one was funnier?
Monsters Inc.
Da-da-da-da-da.
No, the joke of the movie
Put
is
that thing back where it came from. Also, help
me.
No, think about this.
It's gonna get better.
No,
That whole compactor scene. I mean, my god.
oh,
That's classic.
You know what's even better? Like the
kid. Thanks, guys. That was a close one. Okay.
No, Josh.
Oh, thanks, guys.
The kid almost touched me. She got this close to me.
Keep it together, man.
I could have been dead. I could have died.
Guys, even the introduction of the Yeti.
Guys,
welcome to the
there
Himalayas.
was like a deleted scene. Well, not a deleted scene. It was like an extra scene where they actually did the
play.
I love that,
guys. I mean, Billy Crystal and John Goodman. How can you top that? It's unbeatable in that regard. Brave. I
mean,
don't think I
let's
laughed
say
once.
Brave had okay.
Brave had
Let's
babies
say
fall into a woman's boob.
Also, Billy Connolly is one of the funniest comics ever. So, and he was the dad.
Re-
Yes, but also I feel like that alone can't save,
No.
an movie.
it's
I don't think
pretty
I ever laughed at Brave.
it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
So next up is
How do you cast Billy Connolly in your movie and it's not funny? That's sad.
next up is Inside Out versus Monsters University. Most innovative.
Inside Out.
What's more innovative, an IP or a prequel movie? Oh, that's
IP.
Okay, Inside Out wins. Let's move on.
okay. Sorry.
No contest.
Sorry,
We're
Monster.
breaking down her very being. All her favorites have lost already.
Everybody loses in bracket
Oh,
tournament.
Battle of the sequel. Battle of the sequels. Battle of the unnecessary sequels.
Finding Dory versus Incredibles 2.
Wait, did I just call Incredibles 2 unnecessary? I take that back. It was necessary.
Yeah, everyone wanted it to
Nope.
happen.
Caught you slipping.
Okay, most diverse cast. Haven't seen that one in a while.
Incredibles 2.
Probably gonna go with that. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I think
I'm
so.
the check.
Yeah.
Why did I click the inspect elements button?
Are they?
Okay.
Well, it's a lot of the same people from the first film.
We have Samuel Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And who else?
Um.
Who else that's not white?
The old guy who shot lava out of his mouth. He was an old black. He was an old black man.
And a surprise. There was a surprise voice role from Usher, which I forgot about.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, now look up the Finding Dory cast. Because I think that's
Idris
also
Elba
one of
played
the
a sea
people.
lion.
Oh yeah, Idris Elba's in the movie. I forgot about that. But
Oh, that wins.
what? No.
I love Idris Elba.
Well, I love Samuel Jackson, so let's have a thumb war. Me and you. Let's go. You want arm wrestle?
No, it's Luca versus Nick Fury. Just join forces.
I'm seeing a lot of white people in this Finding Dory cast.
This is a toughie.
I mean, Kate McKinnon and Ellen DeGeneres are gay. Is that diversity?
That's diversity.
Not big on SNL comedy a lot of the time.
I mean, well, it's
Wait.
not about how funny they are.
Who did Kate McKinnon play?
She played, she and Bill Hader played fish that were, they found Dory when she was really young.
They were there for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot to do. I think Incredibles 2
There was even
kinda...
a gay couple in Finding Dory.
That is true. That is true.
Was there a gay couple?
Yeah, it was like...
cast, but I think in respect for Pride Month, we should pick Finding Dory.
Very well.
Okay, I'll give that.
I mean, because Finding Dory is slightly better than Incredibles 2, so I'll allow it.
Alright. Cool.
Still just feel a little too Modern Family-ish.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get when you have Ed O'Neill. Okay, next, Toy Story. Oh, yeah, Ty Burrell. Toy Story and Ratatouille. Oh, man.
Choose your next topic carefully.
Best emotional moment.
Toy Story.
Why? Well, no. Ratatouille had the speech by Anton Ego.
No, but
Buzz, you're flying! This isn't
Buzz.
flying. This is falling with style.
yeah, Toy Story.
I can't.
How about-
finally realizing that he's a toy?
I'm gonna appeal to Lyle here. When Sid straps the soldier to the rocket and lights it, and all the toys can do is just watch from the window as it blows up.
Well, even the
Yeah,
comeuppance
that's-
with Sid Phillips gives me goosebumps all the time.
So play nice.
What's wrong, Sid?
That whole damn scene where they wind the frog is like 21 Chekhov guns in a row. Like, it's so well constructed.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But Ratatouille is definitely mature.
One Chekhov's guns.
Ratatouille is very mature, and there's some moments here and there that are emotional, I suppose.
What about the whole scene where Remy gets lost in the sewer and he thinks he's never going to see his family again, and he has to basically survive? It's feast or famine.
That was so early on.
So early in the movie.
Like,
I was
he
like,
finds
ah,
them
go see it.
eventually, and then he ends up in like, he's not in the sewer for very long. There's also where Buzz thinks he can fly, and then the slow realization that he's not going to make it.
You know, you're right. Toy Story has okay.
And then
Ratatouille.
his arm breaks off.
Yeah, like that.
Ratatouille has emotional moments that are deeper, but Toy Story has more emotional moments. So this is actually
It hits me
And
harder,
the
to be
emotional
honest.
moments last longer.
Mm-hmm. It's not to say Ratatouille is unemotional. I mean, I admit that scene with Anton Ego is very good. It's a very good contender, but Toy Story just has so many more moments.
It does.
Yeah, I think Toy Story wins.
Mm-hmm. Yay! I'm happy about that.
Normally, quantity wouldn't win over quality, but I feel like it's a mix of both. The quality is excellent, and because there's more of them, you clearly feel more connected.
Okay.
Exactly.
Next up, Turning Red versus Monsters Inc.
They're both about monsters.
Which movie had more hair?
Now I'm imagining someone photoshopping May May and Panda form into Monstropolis.
Oh, best setting. Hey, Torontonian.
I wonder if
we're
the
biased.
podcast with the Canadians on it is going to go against the Canadian set film or anything.
I gotta say,
No, Metropolis is Monstropolis. Monstropolis is imaginary. Toronto's real. The end.
That's funny, Evan. I called the Incredible City
That doesn't make it
Metropolis.
better though.
We can't have a city powered by laughter, unfortunately. So, but it's nice to dream.
I mean, I like the factory and all the doors and stuff.
But that's the thing.
There is more attention paid to realism from that time, so they clearly put in the effort to try and do a lot of that.
the door sequence was really set, and how you change sceneries all the time.
Yeah.
And as beautiful as Toronto was,
you can't tell me most of the things didn't technically take place in Toronto. One of those doors could have led to someone's room there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Here's my headcanon. What if it was one of those doors was actually Mei Mei's room, and we could have seen the CN Tower in the background, and they're all canon.
It's all interconnected. Interconnected, planetary.
Look for Monsters Inc. more.
I'm gonna vote
I
for.
like the setting more.
Okay.
This like crazy.
Well, I'll let you go first, Evan, but I'll play devil's advocate afterwards.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, Evan, what's your pick?
Okay, is he still eating his chips?
No.
Yes, he's eating chips. Yes.
I pick.
Okay, so then to play devil's advocate, a lot of us remember what Toronto was like in the early 2000s, so it's not like it's necessarily new to us, whereas Monstropolis is very clearly, like, there's aspects to it that couldn't possibly work.
But you see, in Turning Red, you see Chinatown, you see the western downtown area, you see the Skydome,
Kensington
Market, all that. You see convenience stores. That convenience store is a real convenience store. That takes
Checkers, yeah.
Yeah. You know what it should have said? It should have said Kim's on it.
But the thing is, so in Monstropolis, all you see is the Harryhausen restaurant, a couple city streets that Mike and Sully walk down, and most of the movie takes place in the factory. Granted, the factory looks amazing, and the door sequence alone is very, very fun.
It's all very iconic, yeah.
Yeah. But
it's a little tough, to be honest.
It's tough, yeah.
I'm kind of leaning.
Also, the Toronto thing.
But there was no Centerville. 0 out of 10.
We're pretty biased on that, considering when we see the movie, we're like, oh, we know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not Canadian, you're like, oh, it's just a city.
Yeah, what's that Seattle-looking tower over there?
New York City or Los Angeles, where like everyone can tell those landmarks apart.
I remember watching Turning Red with my friend Michael and saying, "Tell me you live near Spadina without telling me you live near Spadina."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They should have had a video, like, they should have had gotten the permission to use the ANC Games, like, storefront thing. That would have been cool.
Mm-hmm. So, what are we voting?
So we gotta vote, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, the bias is going to show for Turning Red.
I pick Monsters Inc.
What about you, Evan?
Turning Red.
The Factory Monsters Inc.
Oh my god, you just got pelted by
And now his arm is about to turn red.
Hey, Abe Sapien landed on Evan.
I just got crushed by a Jaeger. A Jaeger robot.
Not the drink.
Oh, man. Turning Red is so pretty to look at.
It really is.
It's so vibrant. It really captures the aesthetic of a time. And Monsters Inc., while iconic, it's very drab and kind of lifeless. I guess because it's supposed to be like an office setting, and that's
I
what they're
like.
going
Can
for.
I change
It's a
mine? I
music
think I'll
palette.
change to Turning Red then.
Okay, then
Just because it's prettier.
I
But
think
now
Turning
imagine
Red
if
has
Monsters
nicer
Inc.
stuff.
was The Office.
They did that. It was called Monsters at Work, and I didn't like that show.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah. Because I had watched Monsters at Work. I tried watching it, but I also did kind of feel like it's trying too hard to be something else.
It's trying
So,
too hard to be funny, and I
did
didn't
you
laugh.
did you watch Monsters at Work at work?
No, that's not what work is for.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Next up, Cars 3 versus Inside Out. Best
Kind of a little cowboy there.
best computer animation.
Oh, that's actually tough because the landscapes in Cars 3 actually look pretty amazing. Inside Out, though, has color diversity.
Yeah, the dirt and dust clouds and the demolition derby scene with the school bus.
That
and all
scene's
that,
cool.
Like the rain effects
Yeah.
do get pretty intense.
Yeah.
I can see
I
why
would-
you like the
Yeah.
demolition
really
derby
upgrade that.
scene.
Even the training simulation stuff, like because when you see lightning wipe out and it's pretty rough in the first bit, but then you see the training stuff like.
Yeah, it's a slick looking movie. Inside Out though, it's very visually diverse. Like they do a lot of interesting
This isn't
things
easy.
with
Makes the
this.
space of a human brain look so much bigger on the, well, pun intended, on the inside.
Yeah, and then, like the part where they get turned into like
Like 3D.
abstract ideas and they turn into
that was
2D.
pretty unique.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was fun.
I don't know. Like I think Inside Out has a lot of really good aesthetical choices.
Yeah, Inside
Cars-
Out.
Especially the sort of graveyard of dead memories.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
a deep
God.
sequence. Yeah,
Mm.
my God. And the fact that they were able to take such an interesting and like a pretty heady, no pun intended. Okay, that was a little intended. a heady concept like emotions living inside of a brain, and they do it in a very well intentioned way, and I like how they pulled it off.
I always kind of like that premise of if one of them touches a certain memory, it can technically color it a little bit, which is interesting that it allows for the theme of, you look back in hindsight and something that you thought was good, there could be different shades of various other feelings to it.
Yeah, I just think the aesthetics Inside Out are a little nicer in Cars 3. But Cars 3 is like the best looking Cars movie, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
So, I'll give it that. But I think my vote goes for Inside Out.
Here's a Cars related question. If they find a way to tie Duke Kaboom into Cars 4, will you like it more than Cars 2?
That's going to be tough.
I vote for Cars 3.
Okay.
Inside Out.
What
Inside Out.
Okay, Inside Out. Sorry, Veronica.
Side note, I would
want this
love to
movie
see.
gone.
I'd love to see Duke Kaboom in Cars 4, and it literally just be like that rollerball film from 2002, but with racing.
Now, speaking of racing, we still have another Cars movie, fellas and lady. So we have Cars 2 versus Finding Dory.
Cars 2.
Which one had the better ending?
Finding Dory.
What are they again?
Cars 2
Oh, yeah.
and Finding Dory.
Finding Dory, because then she's found. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't really remember the
She gets to see her parents.
Cars 2's ending was wild. I remember there's like Michael Caine's car was about to get sucked into a mine with magnets, but then he like shot the guy and blew up. And then
Wait.
there was a bomb on either Lightning or Mater. I think it was Lightning. And all the cars from Radiator Springs had to come in and save the day as well. And he wanted to blow up the Queen of England or whatever.
So, in other words, Vader had to be bailed out by high-end talent.
Is this the movie where like he learns how to drive backwards and that was a special
Yeah.
skill? Yeah, okay. And that happened. And in the end, I remember Mater was in a helicopter being ridden around, so he's inside the body of a helicopter, and I don't want to think about that anymore.
Wait a minute. Evan might get this deep cut. Does that mean if the helicopter was a whale, was he in its belly?
Oh, I think I get it.
There we go.
Finding Dory, Dory drives a truck
Literally.
into the sea.
Wow, Monster Jam sure has gotten crazy these days.
Both these movies are
Finding Dory
absurd.
wins, right?
I guess Finding Dory does win. Yes, I mean
Yeah,
Cars
but it's
2.
less off the rails and more wholesome.
Cars 2, man. Cars 2. I don't know. Evan was playing with his phone. Cars 2. It's like, man, you had a long run. You lasted a lot longer in this game than I would have ever expected. We're 82% through this game.
Wow.
My
You
hat's
really
off
take
to
your
you.
You
progress.
gotta hurry up because I'm gonna die soon.
Speed run, speed
No,
run.
Veronica,
That was
you're
dark.
gonna live a long, fulfilling life.
Next up, Toy Story versus Turning Red, and the category is
I'm sorry, I just have a side note. My Siri went on after I said I'm gonna die soon, and they're like, you may want to seek help.
Are you serious?
Not even
That's why you turn the auto response off.
okay. Toy Story versus Turning Red.
Cat.
Which movie had the best protagonist?
Oh,
That's
wow,
tough.
that is a tough one. I
It's
mean, do we appeal to the old sentimental favorite or the new hotness?
Yeah, Toy Story has like duo protagonists, no?
I guess
Woody
so.
is technically the no. Woody's the main protagonist. Buzz.
He's a secondary protagonist.
Buzz is a supporting character.
Okay, I have to say, Woody's such an asshole.
He is.
This movie.
But Veronica, he has an
No.
arc by the end, and then they become best friends.
But,
and they
you know what?
scare the hell out of a
As the movie
8-year-old
goes
boy.
on, though, you see that you see the ego go away and the character evolves. But
Yeah.
May is pretty just like chill and easygoing the whole time. It's just more when the panda stuff starts that, like, you know, it's
Yeah.
that part of your life where you really don't want to be ostracized.
And
Well,
honestly, it's partly because I am a female. I really
Well, I
connected
feel
with
like-
her and the way she like just fangirled over this one boy band, like it just brought me back to my teen years. Actually, I still fangirl over the Jonas Brothers. So I sincerely related to her so much that it made me love her even more. So I do have to give my vote to her over Woody just this time. If it was Woody, like in, I don't know, Toy Story 2 or Toy Story 3, then probably I'd pick him. But like in the first one, no, he's too much of an ass.
I will
Especially in the
say,
first Toy Story, it's equally split between Woody and Buzz in their development. 2 is more on Woody.
Yeah.
well, not necessarily. We're going off topic. In 2, that Buzz had to deal with the whole dual persona, but so
That's true, but it's more the more focus is on Woody and all the surrounding stuff. The Buzz thing is more a minor subplot.
now can I just say this about Turning Red versus Toy Story? It's a tough pick because Mei is technically the deeper and more complex character. But then again, like Woody was just going through just jealousy of Buzz, and his leadership of the room wasn't even challenged because Buzz technically never became a leader. The toys just looked up to him.
It was more the perceived.
So I feel like
the
Mei
perceived
is
Well, he even uses his leadership to get like the Sid's toys to rally against him.
That's true. But the thing
That's
is,
one of his skills.
I agree with it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's a tough choice. But I feel like, there's consequences for a choice. It's like if I pick Toy Story, I'm a purist because that was their first protagonist ever. If I pick Turning Red, it's like, oh, I'm more for the new and I hate the old. It's like, well, no, I like them both. It's just tough.
I'll break my rule this once. You used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what's with it isn't it or whatever. I'm bungling it, but what's new seems weird and scary. It'll happen to you.
No, I get it.
So what do you vote
We
for?
gotta vote, guys. I think I'm voting. I vote Mei.
I vote Woody.
Mei.
Josh?
I'm going to go with the one that I feel makes the most sense and that I think has the better arc the whole time, and that is Mei.
Okay.
So Turning Red.
All right, fair enough.
Here to be.
All
Was that a tie or was it 3-1?
It was a
No,
tie.
it was 3-1.
No, 3-1. And I accept that.
Sorry, Lyle.
It's okay. It's okay.
Good night, sweet 1995.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And a flight of Steve.
Wait, is Toy Story eliminated?
Yes.
Clearly, I will go sailing no more. Okay.
Strange things are happening to me.
Aw, man! No fair! Hey! I'm gonna punch the screen down.
Keep going.
Inside Out versus Finding Dory.
Inside
What's
Out.
Finding
Doesn't matter what the
Dory
category is.
Wait a minute. Yeah, we
It's
haven't
like,
done this one yet.
She doesn't even go here.
Inside Out versus...
Yeah.
Okay. Highest box office.
Inside Out.
I think.
I think
won
Inside
it.
Out did get higher box office.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly
Well,
look.
actually, Finding Dory has a good chance.
Yeah, it was a sequel. So let me quickly. I'm looking as quickly as I can. Looking as quickly as I can. Inside Out box office, $858.8 million. Finding Dory's box office, $1.029
We need to come up
billion
with better categories next
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
I knew Finding
I mean, I
Dory.
can take some satisfaction that Finding Dory is not going to win the whole thing.
Yeah, but we'll see. Okay, next
I've
up,
cursed things before, haven't I?
Toy Story 2 versus Turning Red.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna pick a category we haven't touched yet. I don't know. Best villain.
Well,
Well,
Turning
then
Red
that's Toy
doesn't.
Story
Turning Red
2.
doesn't have a villain per se. It's
Well,
again
it's
perceived
kind of
things.
the mom.
But it's like it's not quite a villain as it is more like she wants what's best for her daughter. But like you find out that like the panda issue is like May thought her thing was bad. Yeah, her mom is like 10 times worse.
Stinky Pete's. Some people actually didn't like the whole Stinky Pete being revealed as a
I call
villain.
him Sideshow Pete.
Yeah.
I see what you did
Like
there.
once you hear it's Kelsey Grammer doing the voice, that's immediately what your mind goes to.
Yeah.
He is the more, and especially because it is like Sideshow Bob. He seems nice and friendly at first, but you see that sinister side of
It's not too late to change. It's not too late to change the category if you guys want.
No, it's okay. Go for Toy Story 2 because it's a clear winner.
I agree with Toy Story 2. Although her mom is a very layered character.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like
But
Stinky
she's
Pete
definitely
more.
not villain.
Yeah. So, next, oh hey, Toy Story 2 got revenge for killing Toy Story 1. Where are we at now? This is getting a little convoluted. Okay, next up, Finding Nemo versus Finding Dory. What the hell? Oh my god.
Can we just not find them? Can we just leave them alone?
Okay, funniest movie.
Nemo.
Nemo.
Fine. Yeah, that was funny.
By fucking Dory. I don't know why that movie. I am amazed.
It's because that movie made Ellen, but by the end of the 2010s, it kind of was like, well,
The 2010s made Ellen.
No, I thought the 2000s did that. That's semantics. Next.
I don't know what I'm doing. All right, next up, Toy Story 2 versus Finding Nemo. This one's really gonna test us. It doesn't really count. Best voice cast.
Toy Story 2.
Versus.
Toy Story 2.
I'm inclined to agree. I mean,
James L. Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres have great chemistry.
Albert Brooks.
Sorry, James L. Brooks was in The Simpsons. Sorry,
they were both in The Simpsons.
Albert Brooks. Yeah, they were.
Hot take. Eric Bana as Bruce is actually pretty good. No, Eric Bana is one of the sharks.
He was Anchor, the Hammerhead.
And like the Tank Gang, Willem Dafoe,
Allison Janney.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe can do a lot of great.
Also,
Willem Dafoe is one of my favorites.
Stephen Root was Booze.
And Brad Garrett.
Of course, I mentioned Allison Janney.
Jeffrey Rush is Nigel the Pelican.
Oh, he was good. I didn't even recognize. That's the guy who played Barbosa.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And those movies came out the same summer. Literally, Finding Nemo and Pirates of the Caribbean were playing in the theaters at the same time.
And then Toy Story 2 had like Zurg in that moment. You know when he's like playing catch with Buzz.
It has any pots, and it has the last performance of Slinky Dog from
Atlantis the Lost. Correction, Josh.
Oh yeah, Atlantis.
Atlantis was his.
Fine. No, the last time he voices Slinky.
Yes, that's true.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like this is like the last real time you get a lot of the same like classic voice cast of Toy Story, because like by the time the third one comes around, there's not a lot of voices get changed.
Mm-hmm. I'm inclined to agree. I think Toy Story 2.
Okay.
I agree. Sorry, Finding Nemo. You're very close. Okay, next up, Soul versus Toy Story 2.
And what's the category?
Deepest themes.
Both okay. I feel like Soul might win automatically because Soul literally deals with the highest stakes you can have in a film: life and death.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Yeah,
no.
I think so with
Although
It's heaven and hell.
Although Toy Story 2 deals with
Abandonment.
abandonment versus
I know,
mortality
but
versus
like,
mortality versus
if there's
immortality.
death, can there really be abandonment, or does one lead to the other?
I don't know. I like the way
I,
I like the way the themes in Toy Story 2 are explored better than Soul. I'll say that.
well,
Yeah,
that's
so it just
true.
kind of happened. I mean, the whole impetus for him discovering the great beyond is literally falling. What is it? Falling down a manhole?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it is.
An
well,
open
that the
manhole. I
whole
feel like
idea,
that's been done
It's kind of
before.
silly.
but the idea of Soul is that he takes his existence for granted, and by the end of the movie, he doesn't. Like that's literally
I
the
know,
whole
but you
point of
can
Soul.
also argue in Toy Story. Well, in Toy Story in general, in the beginning, the toys all take their relationship with Andy for granted, and then
Yes,
comes a
that's
time
true.
when they might not.
Well, they appreciate it more in the end. They're like, okay, well, we know that eventually he will grow up and leave us behind, but we're gonna enjoy the time we have with him
That's
when we
true.
do.
I mean, I
And
guess
I'll always have Buzz
to
Lightyear.
troll,
Oh wait, Toy Story
Toy Story
4
Two has a
retracted that.
stupid
No,
bug
you won't.
because, like, I mean, I don't know if it's more on the blame is more on Andy for like not keeping track of where stuff is, or his mom for clearly just assuming anything on the floor is for the garage sale.
Well, that's Toy Story 3 though.
No, Toy
No,
Story
that's
2.
two.
In Toy Story
Two.
2, she
Garage
picks up a
Oh,
bunch.
sale.
sorry,
The
garage
mom
sale.
pays
Sorry,
more
sorry. I thought you said
attention,
garbage
but then
bag.
the mom pays more attention. We don't have a movie.
I thought you said garbage bag. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Josh is right. If the
Yeah,
mom pays
I'm
more
actually
attention, we
gonna
don't have a
switch my.
movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch my vote. I'm going with Toy Story 2.
Me too.
What do you guys pick?
Okay,
Mm.
it's actually tough because Soul, in the context of screenwriting, like I said, Soul deals with the most powerful theme, but it's the how it deals with. Both these movies deal with life, but it's how they deal with life. Soul, it has, is all about appreciating, what's in front of you, and it's about giving up. Toy Story 2,
It's about giving up.
no,
Yeah.
Soul's
He
about,
almost gives up.
Soul is like about, what do you mean Soul's about, it's about giving up? Yeah, there's the theme of
said
giving
Well,
up
he
is
almost,
all,
sacrificed
It's
himself.
not about giving up. It's about
I know
wanting
it's,
to
Well,
continue.
okay, he
it's
almost
not
sacrificed
about,
something I bet he did. All right,
yeah,
Josh, what do you
you know
pick?
what I mean.
Evan, are you picking Soul?
See,
I want to hear what
thought of
Josh
this
has
one,
to go
right?
with first, because I'm torn.
Me too.
See, I feel part of Soul's narrative is fueled by, again, working through the pandemic. So that's why it's a weird what if that if the last few years didn't happen, would the plot have shaped out the way it did?
No,
Which is where
that's the they had Soul
that's my
written.
interpretation.
The
I feel like
script,
part of that it's like life imitating art. Real
well,
world events sometimes can factor into production.
that's fair enough, but the script for, by the time COVID was a thing, the script for Soul was written, and
Yes, it had already been written, but
it takes,
it gives me that feeling.
oh, another thing, in contrast for the productions, the bulk of the bulk of Soul's development would have happened before COVID. So the last third of the production was in.
Why are we talking about COVID when we're talking about the themes of the
I'm
movie?
trying to take into account what I vote for.
Okay,
He's right, but and then
As much as the themes of Soul, though, are very prevalent today. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's why my analysis of it is more tied into living through the last few years. It's kind of made watching a movie like Soul a little bit harder to go back to because it feels a little too real.
oh, okay, so
Good.
yeah.
We got in a roundabout way.
So it's more of like for a personal reason you're inclined to pick one
but
over the
trying
other.
to be a little more neutral in this case. So I think I'm gonna go with Toy Story 2.
Very well.
Okay, win.
I know. I knew it was gonna come down to this, guys. The last round. The last round of this. I thought if we had all these categories, it would make it a little bit more diverse. It would make it
You
a little
thought
bit
we were
more
gonna have
challenging.
parity? We're not one of the 4 major sports leagues.
I thought this would be different. I thought something would change. But you know what? Ultimately, it always comes down to this for me. Every time I do this bracket tournament, it always ends like this. The Incredibles versus Toy Story 2.
The
It's
mother
the sweet
best.
spot. What
The
else
hardest
can you
question.
say about
No,
it?
pick a good category. Pick a category.
I did pick a category.
Best musical score. Toy Story 4 is more epic.
Toy Story 4.
No, Toy Story 2. Fuck.
Oh, I disagree. I think
The Incredibles.
is more
Wait,
epic.
Da da
As
da
soon as
da
you hear that Coco
da
thing,
Okay.
da da da
It's got
da.
those nods to like the 60s and 70s, like a Superman show from the 60s or something.
Da
Wonder
da
Woman. It
da
reminds
da
me of that. That is true, actually.
da
Because that's the
da
thing, Toy Story
da
2's score is not one's score. It's not the same. It doesn't hit as hard. Incredibles, it stands out more to me. Even though it doesn't have original songs the same way the first two Toy Stories do, the score is much stronger.
Very strong.
yeah, I have to agree with that.
I cannot deny the music in Incredibles is quite possibly one of the best that Pixar's ever had.
The music in Incredibles is incredible.
Is there a
Exactly.
bit of a jazz feel in the score to Incredibles 2? I kind of feel
Yeah,
like
it's all jazz.
It is. It's a little just because of the horns.
yeah, I feel like if they wanted to really lean into the jazz direction, give it a bit more like free jazzish, like we could have some Mahavishnu Orchestra channeling going on.
I can't help but wonder if this would be more interesting if Soul won the last round. Well, actually, no. I'd
Well,
still,
I
I'd
feel
still
like
pick
it's
I would
Incredibles.
still pick
It's
Soul.
that's coulda, woulda, shoulda territory.
Well,
But
no, actually, compared to the Incredibles, Soul, it's kind of pale because I don't remember much from Soul.
Now, if only there was a Pixar film coming out in a few years that was called Heart, and someone could do this and have Heart versus Soul.
So who are we voting for? I voted Incredibles.
Incredibles.
Incredibles, which I know. I feel like I wasted 2 hours of my life just saying Incredibles is the best Pixar movie. I called it the moment we started this podcast. I thought
That's
it would
literally
change.
It's in the
It's
title.
It's
Incredibles.
impossible.
I mean, the
It's
music's amazing. The acting's amazing. The animation's actually pretty good. The settings are pretty sick. The
Oh,
story's awesome. They have a great villain. It's
And Brad
really a
Bird can do
perfect
whatever the hell
movie.
he wants.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
Oh man, so many of these categories it would dominate. The only one I think that could have killed it would maybe be computer animation, because some of
Yeah,
it
it
is
is
a
a little
little
dated.
old. It's a little old
It
compared to
is.
some. Unless it was against Toy Story, then Toy Story would get crunched anyway, because that's its worst category.
I
All
feel
right.
like for me, I know the early movies lost out eventually, but there's a charm to the early like Pixar feature animation stuff for me.
Well, yeah, because we grew up with it.
In order to end this podcast, I just wanted to know what's your guys' favorite
That's a good question to end on.
in
Out of
like
all of them,
out of all of them.
Cars
what's your
2.
favorite?
No,
because
keep
Lyle
it together,
gives
man.
payoff every time.
no.
Dave!
Okay, no, it's not Cars 2.
You're right. It's
Okay.
Cars 3. No.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, mine is the winner.
The Incredibles.
Mine is incredible. Yeah, I watched that movie a million times, and it's still great to watch every single time. I never get bored of it. If not that one, a really close second is Toy Story 2. I genuinely love that movie.
That's
I
right.
think it's the best Toy Story.
It always comes down to those two for me sometimes. If I had to pick, God, the first Toy Story has kind of molded my life in such an interesting way. Like, it was one of the first movies I ever saw. It was like, I remember I had so many birthdays where I used to have like Toy Story cups and like plates. And then as I got older and I got more attached to like things like, like the villain, for instance, and I made a whole album about him. That was crazy. And then like that kind of morphed into like more of what I'm doing now with my life, with my band. It's crazy how much Toy Story has actually impacted my life in such a way.
You could just be a Toy Story tribute band.
That would, yeah, that'd be interesting, I guess. But I think I could do better.
It's not a question of better. It's just
I could do more.
It's like
Sorry, I could do more.
It's being pigeonholed into one thing versus.
You're the guy who wants me to do a Syndrome album.
Well, that's not being That's not a Toy Story tribute band.
It's
is it?
all
It's
Pixar.
branching out to a different franchise this time.
Man.
What about you, Evan? What's your favorite?
I hate this question. I can never pick.
Right here. You hate this question right here.
What, at least maybe top 2?
Well, top 3. Like I'm really annoyed that Wally got trounced in every category it wound up in. Because just like Coco, Wally was like one of the best they've ever made.
Yeah,
and
those ones got stomped
those-
out.
Yeah, Coco
unfortunately.
would have been like, I think is in the top 3 for me. I freaking love that movie, so I feel your pain. that it didn't get a
Yeah.
chance to shine.
I'd say
Wally's very dystopian, though. When you really think about it, it is pretty dystopian.
it is,
for the
but
2000s.
you gotta understand, there's a charm to it. Like, I know it's dystopian. The first shot of the movie is literally, you go from huge... Well, that's the point I'm trying to make. The first sequence is you see space, and space is beautiful, and then you cut to Earth, and Earth looks like shit, but you have this lovely little Hello Dolly tune just playing in the movie, and then you have Wally, who leads so much curiosity animation. Incredibles is definitely in my top 3. Well, Wally, if I have a top 3, I feel like it's a toss up. It's okay, like in no particular order. My top 3 are Wall-E, The Incredibles, and Toy Story 2, because oh no, Inside Out actually. See this, I fucking hate these questions. They're so
Hey,
Let's
goddamn.
toss it to
Josh
then.
does have to go
Okay,
soon.
well, I was gonna say, I just realized the whole opening of Wall-E, it makes the movie feel like it's actually a level in like Fallout 3 or New
It
Vegas.
does.
That's why, yeah.
Josh, you have to go soon. Do you want to say yours?
Well, I gotta work in the morning, but I figure we're almost done here. I can go a little bit longer.
Okay.
So it's hard to pick. I mean, I can certainly do a top 5. I would say my 5th. It's gonna be a bit of a hot take, but it is one I remember a little bit better. I think Coco might be my number 5.
Nice.
Why is that a
It's
hot take?
really
That's a
good.
beautiful pick.
I
It's a very
really
good
like the Land of the Dead sequences as a whole, but it also kind of reminded me of the Book of Life, which came out a year or two before. A couple years
Yeah,
before.
it did.
But
Yeah.
also
Everyone
Grim
was
Fandango.
bringing up the Book of
Everyone
Life
needs
when
to play
Coco
Grim
came out.
Fandango.
The Book of Life is actually a really good one.
And also on Disney
it does
Plus.
resemble Coco a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it just happens to come out in the same time frame. Number 4 would probably be, and this might be a little bit of a hotter take, I'm gonna probably go with Incredibles at number 4.
Okay.
Whoa.
One thing I forgot to
There's
mention.
a few that are in higher estimation.
I don't,
And
Josh,
they
just
swap around. I
not
just
to
remember.
take away from yours, but speaking on the note of Incredibles, something I forgot to say about it was it actually, for reasons I can't quite explain, when I had horrible anxiety at the age of 13 and Incredibles came out on DVD, I actually would watch that movie about 2 or 3 times a week. Before going to bed on some nights, and it actually really helped. So, but like I said, why I can't explain, but it just was a movie that really helped me through a difficult time. So, yeah.
Mm. I feel kind of
And
like
then at number 3 is actually going to be Monsters Inc.
nice.
It has a soft spot for me because I watched it a lot as a kid, and the whole idea of, the whole premise of monsters in the closet or under your bed, just the premise of this complex system that connects kids all around the world through their closet doors, but then you're following the life of these regular office workers that are just trying to. It does have an interesting commentary on skilled trades and just putting in an honest day's work, but then it goes into a really interesting angle with the whole scream harvesting, and then there's an energy crisis, and it's really interesting in that regard. And then of course the whole converting it to cleaner energy with they're powered by laughter. It's like how Wall-E is sort of it came out a year after An Inconvenient Truth, so I feel like there's a little bit of that real world effect bleeding into the Wall-E. With this, it kind of feels like, a precursor to global warming a little bit with the screen shortage.
Yeah. Well,
I also really just love Mike and Sully's chemistry.
Oh my god, yeah, they're the best. Oh, I forgot about that movie. It's number 3. Never mind about Coco. Sorry, Coco.
The fact, especially with Monsters Inc., that they take contaminations very seriously. The Harryhausen scene that was some of the more intense action, just because you see that dome of energy go around the restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
That's
funny.
how the
Well, I don't think that day could have gone any worse.
That scene was supposed to be something completely different, but because of real world events, they had to change it.
Were they gonna blow it up or something?
Yes.
Oh.
Unfortunately, due to 9/11, they had to change that sequence, understandably. However,
I think it works
not
better.
to take away from the movie as a whole, it's got a lot of depth, and obviously, after seeing Monsters University, the events of it sort of tie in a bit more. But it's a nice sort of look into this pretty interesting fantasy world. Number 2 is Inside Out.
Oh, that's a great one.
I know it's only from the mid 2010s, but just like a lot of the things in that movie, it really sort of made me revisit a lot of like my adolescence and just sort of what I was going through, and it made me sort of see some of those things in a new light. Just to sort of, imagine like maybe some of that was going on in my own head, and just to sort of see, how all the emotions end up like complementing each other in a weird way. But just like obviously, there are some events at that age that just like they shape you for better or worse.
Well, of course,
to see it
yeah.
through somebody else who died was really, really neat. And then my number one should be no surprise to anybody that actually knows me really well, and that is the first Toy Story.
Oh,
There's that
nice.
saying, you never forget your first. And
Yeah.
I know it lost like near the end, but there was no topping the first one for me.
Fair enough. No, that's good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
For
love
a lot
it.
of the
Works
same
and
reasons Lyle said, really. It's one of the first movies I watched. It's one of the oldest movies I own. It's been a big part of my life ever since. There's a lot of quotable parts for it. It brings me a lot of joy and warmth in some really dark times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And just the characters are all there. There's themes that I can still find myself relating to in a lot of ways. And it's one of those, it is very much an example of Pixar, was that lightning in a bottle that once they found that formula, they were off to the races. And I am going to put Turning Red as an honorable mention, only because as of right now, it's only a few months old, so it's still too soon to really properly
Josh,
judge it. But
since you like to read, I highly recommend, if you have not read it already, Creativity Inc.
Yes.
I'd recommend
by
that to
Ed
all.
Catmull, I have actually read that. I enjoyed that book a lot.
Oh, so I should have known.
That was great. Yeah, that was actually Creativity Inc. For anyone that wants to read, is basically Ed Catmull, who was one of the co-founders of Pixar, along with the late Steve Jobs, sort of chronicling, how he got his start in the animation industry and sort of what led the events that led to the creation of Pixar and
It was
the triumphs and tribulations along the way.
It was the combined. The creation of Pixar came down to Lasser, Catmull, and Jobs are the founding fathers of it, isn't it, more or less?
It was a good read, is what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I think with I like Turning Red at the same time. I feel it's a little too soon to judge it. If I did, there is a good chance that maybe it might leapfrog Coco a little bit, maybe. But again, it's still a few months old, so I'm gonna definitely watch it again.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to like finally see, and this is a bit of a side thing. When I saw Bao in front of Incredibles 2, I thought that was a fantastic short. And to see Domichi in the span of she started as like doing storyboard animation on some of the films in the mid 2010s that Pixar did, but to see her go from directing Bao to Turning Red was such a great thing to see, and really see like probably one of Canada's biggest cities represented so well in Turning Red.
Not one of the. Because
Vancouver.
It's but then you also have Montreal and Vancouver in the mix too. A little.
They're
bit.
the three biggest. Toronto.
It was just something
Trumps
that
overall.
you never thought you would see because so many films center around American cities. So for
that's
1 year we get to have good representation of Canadian city, and don't be surprised if this wins the Oscar next year.
That'd be cool.
It probably will. I mean, I have to see what the competition is, but I will be curious. Most definitely.
I mean, I would have picked. Whoops, sorry.
Yes?
Sorry, I just want to note. I know I only picked one, but that's only because like Toy Story 2 and Incredibles are just in my top 3 too, and we already it seems so synonymous with everyone else's. I guess the only other two I would probably throw in would be Monsters Inc. and Finding Nemo because I grew up with them.
If I extended it to a top 10, Toy Story 2 would probably be like number 7. It'd be a little bit up.
Oh, okay. Finding Nemo.
I might put Cars 3 at the very bottom of that top 10. Like still in the top 10, but barely.
It's the best Cars movie, I would say. But Finding Nemo is the perfect Father's Day film. I will say that.
It really is.
My God.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. My phone's gonna die.
Yeah. We gotta go to work. We gotta go on. Throw up.
Did
I say throw up?
Go throw up.
Go throw up.
I saw the blooper. Those bloopers are great.
Like
they don't do those anymore. It's annoying.
Have you seen Mike's car?
Yes.
It's okay, but it was the beginning of like when they had those DVD exclusive shorts.
Join us next time for the Pixar short films bracket tournament.
Oh, great.
Oh, God.
I mean, that would be. I mean, I just talked about Bao. I can't wait to see that like sweep everything.
Yeah. Oh,
If
that
some
would
of
be great.
these results upsetted you, it was designed to be that way. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we're right.
I
You're
mean, the
wrong.
best part is they're all on
Sorry.
Disney Plus, so everyone can go rewatch or watch these for the first time, and form their own tier list. I'm surprised this wasn't a tier list, though.
I mean, I guess we.
Lyle and I did that last year.
Right. Okay. So go watch that for a primer before this.
Yeah.
But we
Even though
didn't
it's an
cover
anime
Pixar.
episode, and it's a little too late for that.
I guess we could do a tier list someday. I mean, I feel
We
like
did do it too. Well, we did it like
You did
that was
it
for
for
Disney,
the Disney animated one,
not
so-
Pixar though.
we did. We watched the Pixar movies.
Yeah, but we're talking about like
we ranked them
podcasts.
among the Disney ones as well.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. That was
All
ages
right. Well,
ago.
now that we've had our facts thoroughly checked,
Alright. Good night, everybody.
Well, thanks for coming by.
I think it's time to make like
Yes.
Junior and turn off the light.
Okay.